Truett Value Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Atmos Energy, our smart choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
I'm Doug Brown. Eagles defensive lineman Brandon Graham was planning to retire after this season. Then he tore a triceps muscle against the Rams in Week 12. Today, the team opens Graham's practice window, meaning he may have a chance to play against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. The Buffalo Bills are not in the Super Bowl, but GM Brandon Beane says big drastic changes are not needed on his team.
When you look holistically at what we've done year after year after year, I think a lot of people would sign up for that. Is it what we want, the final result? No. But I've heard it told to me by multiple people that have been in this league longer than I have. Keep kicking the door, and you're going to knock it down.
Brandon Beane. In the NBA tonight, the Grizzlies host the Rockets, two of the top teams in the West, and we've got it here on ESPN Radio starting at 9 Eastern. Nashville is bidding to get a WNBA team starting in 2028. If they get it, the franchise would be named the Summit in honor of late Basketball Hall of Famer Pat Summitt.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy, coming up Friday as Patrick Mahomes chases a three-peat. Just how long do we think his career will actually be? It's Unsportsmanlike, weekday mornings at 6, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's rock! Go!
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, presented by Decision Critical, Concierge Nursing in Baton Rouge. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, Matt!
You know what, kid? Shut up! Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
And Mr. Toby Tomplay. Did I fool you? You think I was going to be nice to the kid today?
I was confused. I don't know if it's a you fooled me, but yeah, you fooled me. You fooled me. Yeah,
it's okay. So argumentative, so combative all the time.
Not all the time.
Paulie, hit him in the head for me, please. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Flat ton to do today. We'll head back to Mobile for one more check-in. The great Todd McClure 1 hour from right now. And Joe Doyle, a little scouting perspective on this LSU baseball team. That's in 90 minutes. Let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
If you can believe it, we found it. We found it. Cue the Alleluia chorus. We found the lone person. There's one. We found him. We found the one human being alive. The one brave soul willing to stand up and say, you know what? Mickey Loomis and the Saints, not that bad. We found him. I can't believe it. I didn't think a person existed that could have looked at what's going on with the New Orleans Saints right now and said, you know what? It ain't that bad. It's not all that you say it is. I hear that bald, angry-faced, yelling guy down in Louisiana. I see his TikToks and whatnot, his YouTube shorts, talking about gum-smacking GMs driving cars into ditches and whatnot. Seen that. He's wrong. It's not so bad in New Orleans. That would be the person of Mike Florio, Pro Football Talk. And Florio's a respected voice, no doubt. I'm not saying he's right on everything. I don't think he's right on everything. But he's got a big voice, and he's connected in the NFL. And Florio's got a piece up at Pro Football Talk where he says, despite short-term challenges, Saints are a solid long-term destination for a new coach. Oh, stop traffic. Record scratch. wish we had sound effects. Like, all that would be really good. Oh, well. I need a little thing where I can. So, very quickly, I'll go through the point that he makes. He writes, the lingering vacancy, which by all appearances is being held for Eagles coordinator Kellen Moore, has prompted some to argue the Saints' job is the least appealing from the current cycle. It's not, he writes. He says, yes, the Saints have cap issues. Mickey Loomis and his staff will always find a way to solve them. As for the quarterback situation, if they keep Derek Carr, they'll deal with $30 million in salary. If they move on, they'll have a clean slate and $30 million extra in cash and cap space. He notes the Jets have been dysfunctional under Woody Johnson for 14 years in a playoff drought. The Jags have been one of the worst teams in the league since Shad Khan bought the franchise more than a decade ago. The Raiders have two foundational pieces, Max Crosby and Brock Bowers, but not much else. He says, and the Cowboys are, well, the Cowboys. So what do the Saints have? An owner who's patient, doesn't meddle. A GM who's built teams that consistently contend. And when they topped off the rest of the roster with a great coach and a quarterback. Says the fan base is zealously supportive. The division isn't chock full of juggernauts. Despite the glass half full vibe that every franchise with a new coach tries to create, it's impossible for the NFL to have 32 good teams. And bad teams tend to stay bad. Over the past 18 years, the Saints have not been one of them. And he's right. And it is nice to hear an opposing point of view just to make you, if nothing else, stop, pause, and consider. Because I do often say the fan and media echo chamber around sports is something that I try very hard to avoid. It's not that I am contrarian for the sake of being contrarian. That's what Muse does. It is to say that I do like to say, if everyone is zigging, should we consider zagging? Like, groupthink is a very real thing around sports, where people hear a point of view and just continue to repeat it. That happens on Twitter all day. It happens on Facebook or message boards or talk radio or talking head shows or everything. It's very common. So it is interesting to at least stop and consider an opposing point of view, but I would argue to the contrary of what Florio is saying there. Like, yes, the Saints always work through their cap issues, and they do, and they will. They'll restructure deals, and they'll make it work because they have to. But the problem is when you do that, then you're not in a healthy enough cap situation to be able to retain players you want. That's why you look and you go, why were there two NFL Defensive Player of the Year finalists that the New Orleans Saints drafted that were NFL Defensive Player of the Year finalists for other teams while you were one of the worst defenses in the NFL? That's a dysfunctional organization. That's not a good organization. Yes, they'll make the money work, but it's your inability to function sensibly within the cap that puts you in those positions where you're not able to retain players you want. And I would also argue that over the course of the New Orleans Saints history, for nearly 60 years, the outlier, the little sliver of Sean Payton, Drew Brees, which we lived for 15 years and was amazing, that's the exception. The other 45 years of being a dysfunctional mess is the Saints' true reality. That's what the organization is and has been throughout its history. So, yes, no doubt, as Florio points out there, that the Saints have been a consistent contender over the last 2 decades, and when topped off with a great coach and a great quarterback, I would argue the great coach and quarterback is why you are a contender. And without that great coach and quarterback, you've been nothing close to being a contender. So yes, the coach and quarterback matters. Ask New England. The greatest dynasty the NFL has ever seen. Brady and Belichick are gone. They stink. Look at Indianapolis. Peyton Manning has a great run there. The year he's injured, they stink. They got the first pick in the draft. They got Andrew Luck. They got a good quarterback, and they were consistent. Luck's gone. They haven't been good since. Look at the 49ers, man. They had a great 2-decade run with Joe Montana and into Steve Young. And then they had a time there with Jeff Garcia, but from 2003 to 2010, they went 8 consecutive years, 8 non-winning seasons. 8 consecutive. Why? Well, you had Mike Nolan and Mike Singletary and Jim Tomsula. And you know when they got good? When they hired Jim Harbaugh. I mean, it ain't hard to figure out. So, yeah, you got to have the coach and the quarterback. But good organizations don't miss there. Or when they do, they're able to pivot and replace it. The Saints aren't that. And it is a bad job. It's why candidates you wanted to talk to didn't want to talk to you. It's why you didn't get a conversation with Ben Johnson. It's why Joe Brady's staying in Buffalo. It's why Cliff Kingsbury's staying in D.C. You don't think any of those guys, you don't think if the Chicago Bears came calling on Joe Brady and they identified him as their top target, you think Joe Brady's staying in Buffalo with a chance to go to Chicago with Caleb Williams, franchise quarterback, a young, talented offensive roster, high draft picks, cap space? You can tell me, like, he wouldn't have taken that job? It's a hypothetical. I don't know for sure. But of course, you want to be set up for success. And you're not set up for immediate success, which prolongs the misery. And that's where you are. So, I mean, go back to the lead here, which is, despite short-term challenges, the Saints are a solid long-term destination for a new coach. I don't agree with that. I think what we've seen from the Saints long-term is that they're not a good organization. And the short-term challenges only beget more challenges. The Saints are far more reminiscent of the New York Jets historically than they are the Pittsburgh Steelers. The last 2 decades, the Saints look a lot more like the Steelers. But that's not their history because they're not a good organization. And I love them. This isn't like, you know, when people talk about your crazy uncle, it's like you can talk about your crazy uncle, but someone else talks about your crazy uncle. Hey, man, it's my uncle. You want to fight? Like, I love the Saints. They're my crazy uncle. And I can say it about them because it's family. But they're a dysfunctional mess and have been throughout all of their history, except for the shining sliver of Breeze and Peyton. And once they're gone, this is the Saints' reality. So, no, I don't trust Mickey Loomis to get this hire right. No, I don't think they're going to do the right thing and cut Derek Carr and swallow it this year and stink and get a top 5 pick and try to get your franchise next year, because that's what a good organization would do. And the Saints aren't a good organization. So they're going to keep making bad decisions with who they hire, with how they approach this offseason, with how they approach the cap, with how they approach the draft. They're going to continue trading up for players instead of trading back and acquiring more assets. They're going to continue to push forward with bad contracts to try to win now when they're no closer to winning now than they were yesterday. I hope he's right. And it is interesting at least to consider a conflicting point of view. I just think this is one of those instances where the one person giving the counterpoint is zagging when everyone else is zigging, and he's doing so just to be different. And I think that's probably what's going to keep this Saints organization going down the wrong path. We'll see when they make a hire. Should be getting close as announcements have come that the Saints are done interviewing. There's no more candidates to interview, so they're down to what really amounts to your final 3. It's going to be Kellen Moore, Mike Kafka, or Darren Rizzi, with all signs the longer this is prolonged that it's going to be Kellen Moore. Because if they wanted to hire Kafka or Rizzi, they could have already done it. I mean, the second they finished the interview with Kellen Moore, if they were done with him, they could have hired someone else. So chances are it's going to be Kellen Moore. They can't make that official until after the Super Bowl, but we'll continue to wait and see how it all plays out. All right, our show Open Every Day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy in Louisiana with the great taste of Bud Light. Remember, Super Bowl 59 coming up a week from Sunday. You want to be there. Our friends at McClure Beverage and Bud Light got your tickets. Go right there. If you're watching on YouTube or WBTR, thank you. That QR code, scan it right there. That's how you can enter to win a pair of tickets to Super Bowl 59 in the Dome. If you're listening, not watching, no sweat. Just go find McClure Beverage on social media, Instagram, Facebook. As a matter of fact, I'll go share. I'll find the post and I'll share it to my Instagram story if you follow me on Instagram. But it's easy. Go look in their feed and you'll see the post with the Bud Light cans and the Super Bowl logo. And you'll see the QR code right there. So it's real easy. If you want to enter to win the tickets to Super Bowl 59, you can do it. Drink easy with a great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of Super Bowl 59, the official beer of AFR. Okay, y'all, it's after further review. We'll knock out our first break. When we come back, the On 300, the final On 300, that's the top 300 players in the country from On 3 is in, and the final list of 32 5-stars is in, and there is a newly minted LSU signee who got his 5th star. We'll talk about him next. It's AFR.
AFR.
Love telling you about River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001, 752-0001. 77 degrees today. You know those 100-degree temps are right around the bend. Oh, it's January, right? We had snow last week. The bottom line, y'all know this, man. We live in Louisiana, and you never know what the weather's going to do. One week it's snowing, the next week you got your AC on. So you want to make sure that you're always on top of your service and your maintenance. And if you do have an issue, call our friends at River City's 1 Hour Air because they're the best. Number one, they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. They're 1 minute late, you don't come out of pocket 1 cent. And, of course, at River City's 1 Hour Air, they'll always come out nights, holidays, weekends, and never charge you extra to come out nights, holidays, weekends. They save you money as well. Mention the Moscona special. They'll knock out $30 on any system repair just for mentioning the show. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. Look for the big yellow vans and trucks with the giant clock on the side. You see them all over town. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Got chores that need some extra muscle, but a large piece of equipment is overkill? That's what John Deere compact utility tractors were made for. Powerful enough for the work you need to do. Compact enough for how you need to do it. Find the equipment that's right for you at Sunshine Quality Solutions. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Savor game day platters and snacks, plus drink specials at 1717 Kitchen and Cocktail. So come out.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
So every year on 3, when they put together their final list, they call it the On 300. It's the top 300 players in the country. Don't look now, but the number 1 player in the country as it all finishes and wrapped up is, in fact, Michigan quarterback Bryce Underwood. Well, Bryce Underwood finishes as the number one prospect in the country. Not entirely surprising. But there were some 5-stars. So if you're not familiar, On3 also puts out 32 5-stars. Every year, without exception, they award 32. That's it. 32 5-stars, which is supposed to be symbolic of the 32 first-round draft picks. It's how it would kind of look there. LSU certainly was well represented. Harlem Berry, one of the 5-stars, number 18 in the country in the final on 300. So congrats to the New Orleans running back, the number one running back in the country, finishes right there, which was awesome to see. Of course, also in the on 300, DJ Pickett, the number one cornerback in America, finishes 10th in the on 300 as the 10th overall prospect in the on 300. And then there was a newly minted 5-star, courtesy of On3, and that would be Carius Kern, the offensive lineman out of Arkansas, the number one interior offensive lineman in the country. According to On3, Carius Kern finishes this cycle as the 28th best prospect and does, in fact, get his 5th star from On3. So, take that for whatever it's worth. It's not to say that being a 5-star guarantees you success or anything of the kind, but it is something that Shea Dixon on this show for quite some time now, many months, has been predicting that ultimately he thought Carius Kern would end up getting a 5th star, and there he did. And Carius Kern's also a guy that Brian Kelly said on National Signing Day was someone they thought could actually be an immediate impact guy in 2025 as a freshman.
Physically imposing, 6'4", 330 pounds, one of the stronger offensive linemen that I've recruited in some time. He is physically strong at the point of attack. He dominates his opponents. If you just turn on his film, he absolutely dominates his opponent. He is physically ready to play in the SEC right now. We'll have to see how the other things come together, but he is physically ready to play. He's a special player.
Whenever they looked at the biggest risers in the final on 300, the name among the LSU prospects that was actually the biggest riser wasn't Carius Kern, although he got the 5th star. It was Teron Francis, who went from number 212 nationally all the way up to number 89 nationally. So an in-state wide receiver who exploded up the board there in his final season. So it just goes to show you, a lot of times we look at these recruiting rankings when guys are sophomores and juniors, and you sort of marry yourself to the idea of where a prospect is going to be, but then they go from being 17 to 18, play their senior year, continuing to develop, and you see stuff like this. But Brian Kelly said it in no uncertain terms. He felt Carius Kern was ready to play right away. Speaking of Shea, this is Shea on AFR earlier in the fall talking about Carius Kern and actually how it ties in with their relationship with offensive line coach Brad Davis.
He is the number one player in Arkansas. He's also the number one interior offensive lineman in the country on 3. That would give Brad Davis 3 O-line top 100 commits already this cycle. He was committed to Arkansas at one point, visited Baton Rouge in the spring, and a couple of days later backed off that commitment. Now that he's had the official visit, I think things are looking good there. And no shocker, Matt, it feels like every year, because it is, that Brad Davis has been on the staff. He's put together arguably the best position group of anyone on, the coaching staff.
Carius Kern, a big part of that, and especially as we know what LSU's losing on the offensive line. This is probably, for me, the most intriguing position group that we'll talk about in spring. I understand for all the reasons why we're going to talk about the receivers. I mean, you lose your top 3 pass catchers. You obviously have 2 tight ends coming in, and Trey'Dez Green will continue to grow and develop in that role. There's so much intrigue on the defensive side because of all the star power you brought in. But if you're just looking at question marks on this team, obviously it's the offensive line. And a big part of it is who you lost, but another part of it is how they played a year ago. I mean, coming into last season, coming into the 2024 season, I said it, we all said it, that the offensive line was going to be the strength of the team. I mean, Will Campbell and Emory Jones are both projected first-round picks. We were going through the history that LSU, the last time LSU had a first-round pick on the offensive line was Alan Faneca back in 1990. You realize that's the last time LSU had a first-round draft pick on the offensive line. Alan Faneca, 1998. And LSU has never had 2 first-round offensive linemen, ever. And we were talking about Campbell and Jones being that this year, Dellinger and Frazier back for their senior years. Like, this was supposed to be a dominant unit. And they were truly elite, an elite pass-blocking unit this year, but they struggled to run block. But regardless, you're still losing 4 starters on this offensive line. So how does it all shake out? Yes, I mean, we're excited about Braylon Moore coming in from Virginia Tech. That answers your question at center. You got Josh Thompson coming in at Northwestern. He's going to start somewhere, probably on the right side of the line, either at guard or tackle. You might go add somebody else. But the point is, there is a spot potentially for a freshman to come in and play, especially at guard. I'm not telling you game 1, snap 1, LSU's going to have a true freshman like Carius Kern out there, but I also think it's possible. We saw Will Campbell start game 1, snap 1 against Florida State. I mean, he's out there trying to block Jared Verse in his first collegiate game. That's unenviable. But he did it. You want to put someone at guard, it's way more manageable, especially if they can physically handle it. So Kern could be that guy. I mean, I think DJ Chester is going to slide over and play guard, which is his more natural position. You know, in a perfect scenario, you get another tackle out of the portal. You have Weston Davis, that portal tackle, Tyree Adams battling for the tackle jobs. You look at guard, DJ Chester kicks and plays one guard potentially. Josh Thompson plays the other. Or maybe you have a battle with Paul Mabenga, DJ Chester, and one of the freshmen coming in, Kern, Solomon Thomas. I mean, I haven't even mentioned Bo Bordelon, who's a guy that's going to be going into his 4th year, started the bowl game. Maybe he could try to go win a job at guard. Like, it's a giant question. So when I go back to spring, why it's so important, spring is when we're going to start to sort that out. At least not necessarily win jobs on the offensive line, but at least have a better understanding of your starting position for fall camp. Because those 3 weeks of fall camp are going to be what determines who is starting against Clemson in that first 5. That's imperative, man. You got to pave the way for your running backs. You got to keep Garrett Nussmeier upright. If that offensive line does that, there is toys all in this toy chest for Joe Sloan, that offense to play with. So it starts, though, with that offensive line, and Carius Kern, who got his 5th start today, going to be a big part of it. Something we knew and expected. I shouldn't say we knew. Something we expected. Go figure. Shea Dixon, who works at On3, has been predicting for months that On3 would give Carius Kern his 5th start. Shea might have had an idea of how this was going to go. But Kern does get it. He's going to be someone to watch when LSU gets to fall camp, without question. A guy who's got a shot to come in and play. Not my words. The head coach said it. A guy who's physically ready to play as a true freshman. We'll see if he can get up to speed. All right, we're brought to you by Parish Restoration, parishbuilt.com. Kill mold, remove odor, spray that patented non-toxic dry fog. It's so easy. Jim Woodworth, I don't believe there's another human on the face of planet Earth that knows more about mold and mold remediation than Jim Woodworth. Like, it's kind of crazy. I mean, I'm sure there's probably some scientist somewhere in the world that could tell you, but like, I mean, Jim's an ex-military guy. I mean, he was an Air Force guy. Super smart, been all over the world, and started in disaster relief. He helped in disaster relief post 9/11. He made his way back to the Gulf South after the BP oil spill, and now he started Parish Restoration. So it's a patented non-toxic dry fog treatment. If you have mold, think you might, odor, other harmful pathogens, let them come in. They'll spray. It's more efficient, so it takes less time, and it's more cost-effective than traditional remediation. It's a dry fog, too, so you're not cutting sheetrock, you're not pulling out furniture, carpet, anything like that. They'll come in, they'll spray. You let the fog settle. As soon as it dissipates, you're back in free and clear. It's Parish Restoration. Learn more. Go to parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Hit the restoration tab. Parish Restoration, parishbuilt.com. All right, it's after further review. Glad you're hanging out with us here. Let me knock out a break. We'll come back. We'll go around the SEC. Quick note on the LSU basketball Tigers, which lost last night to number 1 Auburn. The beat goes on for the basketball Tigers. But I understand many people have disengaged. But if there were a point where you would think, if you're holding out a glimmer of hope, a Saturday is the day. Saturday is the day where your season either continues or it ends. But we'll talk a little bit about that as we continue. It is AFR.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. If you've been injured in an accident, it's not your fault. Do what injured people in our state have done for more than 3 decades. Go to getgordon.com. Getgordon.com. Get Gordon and get it done. Of course, Gordon not only helps injured people in our state get exactly what they're entitled to, but he also gives back so much to our state. We talk a ton about the NIL initiatives Gordon's done with student athletes at both male and female at universities all over the state of Louisiana, but also many of the different charitable organizations. You go to almost any charitable event around Baton Rouge, and you'll see that gold block G logo all over the place. I've told you when I go MC the Down Syndrome Awareness Group Buddy Walk, Gordon is always there with the team. You can go to the sponsorships page on his website, and you'll see all the different ways. Stepping It for Diabetes, Stuff the Bus, the Bengal Group. So many different ways that Gordon and his team have given back. You know what to do. Get Gordon and get it done.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Got chores that need some extra muscle, but a large piece of equipment is overkill? That's what John Deere compact utility tractors were made for. Powerful enough for the work you need to do. Compact enough for how you need to do it. Find the equipment that's right for you at Sunshine Quality Solutions. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
When you can't rely on technology, you can rely on Mountain Cool.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
.1045 ESPN Baton Rouge and Citizens Bank and Trust want to help you cover your car payments. It's a $5,000 grand prize with a bonus chance to win free car washes from Benny's Car Wash for 6 months. We're also letting you earn extra entries by subscribing to our LouisianaSports.net daily newsletter. To sign up, visit 1045ESPN.com.
Shows every Thursday brought to you by Decision Critical, not just healthcare for your lifestyle. Let Decision Critical be an extension of your physician services. If you're just home from the hospital with a new baby, all the way to end-of-life care, maybe you're a parent who's now caring for an elderly parent and you need help. Decision Critical, they're professional nurses. They can come in-home or wherever and help you. DecisionCriticalBR.com. Schedule that first exploratory conversation and meeting. DecisionCriticalBR.com. LSU basketball loses again on Wednesday night at the Maravich Center to number 1 Auburn. The Tigers fall by 13. Matt McMahon, after the game, says effectively what we all know right now, which is that, Tigers are better. It's just not showing in the final results.
I think the effort's fine. The preparation's fine. We got to get better. I mean, that's just all there is to it. We got to execute better on both ends of the floor. We got to find ways to clean up these margins that are preventing us from having an opportunity to win these games against, we all know this is the best league in the history of college basketball. So it's certainly not going to get any easier. So we just got to find a way to get better and find ways to win.
It's the disappointing part because I think he's right. They are better than they were a year ago. And if, look, losing Tyrell Ward and Jalen Reed, that's significant. I mean, there's no way to undersell that. I mean, those are two of your best players, and they're not on your team in what is the deepest league ever. You got 10 ranked teams in the SEC. Like say, top 25, 10 of them are from the SEC. It's just ridiculous. It's just the deepest the league's ever been. And when you go out and you turn the ball over like LSU did, and 20 times, and you allow Auburn 25 offensive rebounds, you're just not going to have a chance to win. I mean, it's just stating it obvious. I mean, look, LSU shot it better. We've talked about how they're the second worst team in the SEC, really right there, as far as three-point shots. They made 8 of them last night. They shot 36% from three, which is an improvement from where they've been. It just wasn't enough, man. It's not enough when you turn the ball over 20 times and allow 25 offensive rebounds. So they'll try again. And if you want any glimmer of hope, if you want to believe, if you're still hanging on to any reason for optimism, it's because of your next 6 games. Because your next 6 games, you can win any of them. I'm not saying you're going to win all of them. I'm saying you can win any of the next 6. You're at home against Texas. You're at Georgia. You're home against Ole Miss. You're at Arkansas, at Oklahoma, then home against South Carolina, which is winless in the league. You can win any of those games. Again, I'm not saying you're going to win all of them. But let's say you go 5-1. Tall ask. I'm not saying that's going to happen. Let's say you go 5-1. Great. You go 5-1 in this next stretch. So you look up and you're 6-7. You've played yourself right into the bubble conversation. The problem is then what's next? Because your final 5 games in league play are Florida, Tennessee, at Mississippi State, at Kentucky, and Texas A&M. 5 teams all ranked in the top 14 in the country. And 2 of them are on the road. So I think you're going to finish the season on a 5-game losing streak. Even if you play yourself back into the mix here, that stretch at the end is going to kill you, which is why we go back to those first 2 league games against Vanderbilt and Missouri, and that's what did you in. Those 2 losses put you in a spot mathematically where even as we looked at this stretch right now, and I understand everybody's looking at it, and LSU's lost 6 of 7, but when you look at this stretch where they had to play 4 of 5 on the road, and they had to go 3 consecutive games at A&M, at Bama, and Auburn, number 11, number 4, and number 1, like it wasn't going to go well for you. None of us expected that to go well. You got the 1 game you thought you could get, which was at home against Arkansas. But if you had started with wins against Vandy and Missouri, instead of being 1-6 right now, you'd be 3-4. And then that stretch I just told you about would put you in a position where even if you face planted down the stretch, you could go to the SEC tournament with a chance to play yourself onto the bubble or into the tournament. It's just not mathematically feasible for this team. You're going to have to do something absolutely otherworldly down the stretch if you want to get back into contention or play yourself toward the bubble. I just don't see it possible. So people are going to continue to disengage. Baseball is going to start. People are going to be really excited about that. This team's going to play out the string, and LSU is going to go to the drawing board this offseason trying to figure out a way to make themselves competitive. And the answer is pretty easy. You got to go spend more money on your roster. If Auburn and Bama and Florida and Tennessee and Kentucky are all spending $5, $8, $10 million on their basketball roster and you're spending $2 million, it's not good enough. Like you're not going to compete with those schools. If you just got to decide, do you want to compete with those schools? If you do, you got to go fundraise. You got to get the right players to be able to compete with those schools. If not, you're just going to keep missing the tournament every year. So just decide what you want to be. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service. ShawBillsTire.com, locations all over South Louisiana. Go to ShawBillsTire.com, ShawBillsTire.com, with locations all over. Remember, it's name brand tires at wholesale prices. We're talking Michelin, Bridgestone, Firestone, BF Goodrich. You want to buy the best tires on the road to protect your family when you're driving around in inclement weather conditions like we have around Louisiana today with all the weather? You want the best tires, you get them from Shaw Bills because you're getting name brand tires at wholesale prices. Go to the website, hit the promotions tab at the top. You'll see all the dealer specials, how they work in the manufacturer's offer with their own in-house offer to get you the best price, and they guarantee it. Buy tires at Shaw Bills, find them advertised somewhere else cheaper. They'll refund you 125% of the difference. What do you have to lose? It's Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service. ShawBillsTire.com. Shaw Bills, we keep you rolling. All right, do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference. The Auburn Tigers.
Well, Auburn stunk in football this year, and one of their many problems was their issues in the kicking game. They made just 12 of 22 field goal attempts with Towns Magoo. I like saying that. Towns Magoo. It might be Mago. I don't care. I'm going with Magoo. M-C-G-O-U-G-H. And his name is Towns. Towns Magoo. He's expected to be Auburn's starter. Made just 5 of his 12 kicks. He was replaced by Alex McPherson, who was out with some gastrointestinal illnesses. Hugh Freeze said at the Senior Bowl that McPherson is feeling better, and they do expect him to be good to go for next season. Tigers also added Southern Miss kicker Connor Gibbs and Oklahoma State punter Hudson Kack, K-A-A-K. Towns Magoo,
the Florida Gators.
Towns Magoo and Hudson Kack. Best kicker names in the business there.
Florida Gators.
Step on me with the drops, Muse. Towns Magoo and Hudson Kack. Florida coach Todd Golden revealed Thursday that center Micah Handlogden. So can we just get like Bill Smith? I mean, Handlogten. He'll probably not play this season despite his recent return to practice. He was injured in the SEC tournament final a year ago, was on the availability report for the game against Georgia on Saturday, ultimately ruled out of the contest. Transferred in from Marshall last offseason, started 32 games for Florida as a sophomore, but likely not to play this year. He'll be back next year.
The Tennessee Volunteers.
Catcher Cannon Peebles. Cannon with a C. Just need Sharif on standby for Around the SEC now. Cannon Peebles dealing with an arm injury. Tony Vitello said the junior has soreness throwing and swinging. Said they've held him out of some things, worked hard behind the scenes. They're not sure when he'll be back to full strength or if he will be ready for opening day. Peebles is expected to be Tennessee's starting catcher. They have redshirt freshman Stone Lawless and freshman Levi Clark. What are we doing here today? Stone Lawless, Levi Clark, and Cannon Peebles. We're in fuego.
Cannon and Stone are both solid baseball names.
I feel like we got to get Sharif back again.
Towns Magoo wins so far with everything you've gone through.
Towns Magoo.
That's the best thing ever.
I'm writing it down so don't forget. Towns Magoo, Cannon Peebles. I'm just going to highlight this. Cannon Peebles. Where is it? Levi Clark and Stone Lawless. And then Towns Magoo. Oh, and then what was the other guy's name? Something Cack?
Yeah, I don't remember his name, actually, at all.
Thanks for paying attention.
I had Stone Magoo.
The Georgia Bulldogs.
You always get out on the punchline. UGA wide receiver Colby Young has reached a plea deal. His charges in the domestic violence case have been dropped. Kirby Smart has been discussing with him about returning to the program. Played in 5 games for Georgia this year after transferring from Miami.
The Texas Longhorns.
And Arch Manning's got to deal with Red Bull. Good for him. There you have it. That is Around the SEC. Thursday shows are brought to you by Decision Critical, DecisionCriticalBR.com, DecisionCriticalBR.com. Concierge Nursing. Concierge Nursing in Baton Rouge. I got a text. With a name like Towns Magoo, he has to be from Mountain Brook. What's Mountain Brook? Anybody know? Mountain Brook? Maybe like a town in Georgia?
It could be, yeah. I mean, yeah. Sorry. I mean, that time I actually wasn't paying attention.
Dynamite. Let's go to a break. Come back and wrap up hour number 1. It's AFR.
AFR.
Hey, I love telling you about Duplessis Builders. If you are thinking of putting in a pool this year, you can call around. You could see who's got availability. You could look at different websites and people's work. I'm just going to tell you, make sure you call Duplessis Builders. Go to their website. Take a look at the beautiful work they've done. And the reality is you can go to a lot of different companies that do beautiful work, like resort-style swimming pools, putting greens, jacuzzis, spas, saunas. I mean, they do everything. It's gorgeous. They can do your pool deck. I mean, they can do the whole outdoor area, outdoor kitchen, everything. A lot of places can do that. But this is the kicker. And I want you to really consider this when I say it. The industry standard on their workmanship guarantee is 1 year. Duplessis Builders offers a 10-year workmanship warranty. Call around, see if anybody else does that. DuplessisBuilders.net.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Got chores that need some extra muscle, but a large piece of equipment is overkill? That's what John Deere compact utility tractors were made for. Powerful enough for the work you need to do. Compact enough for how you need to do it. Find the equipment that's right for you at Sunshine Quality Solutions. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at DecisionCriticalVR.com.
All right, we are efforting the no-talent Sharif Ishaq. I got to get a ruling here. I think in this, in the history of this show, all of the different frat-tastic names we have done, and listen, when you're talking SEC, in particular, you get toward baseball season, I mean, there can be a deluge of Frat-tastic names. I don't know that we have ever had the concentration of like A-list frat names. Boom, 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 boom. Not only in one segment, but in one portion of one segment as we just had when we went around the SEC and rolled up on Towns Magoo, Cannon Peebles, Stone Lawless, Levi Clark. I mean, boom, 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 like all in succession. Hudson Cack. So I got to figure out some way to make sense of this. So, all right, we'll see if we can get Sharif. Do we have Sharif? I'm going to tell you, it's not often ever that I'm excited to talk to Sharif Ishak. He's generally a no talent. He's not a good person, and I don't ever like talking to him. But there is one particular thing for which we need his expertise. It's when we talk about and rank Frat-tastic names, because there is nobody better at that. And I guess we all have to be good at something. So for Sharif, it's being good at identifying and grading and rating Frat-tastic names. And we just ran across what I think is the greatest concentration of names in a 60-second span in the history of this show. Sharif, no thank you. How are you?
Better than you, as usual.
That can't be the case. Well, actually, that probably is the case because I'm terrible because I'm talking to you. So, yes, I am doing horribly right now, but I want to get through this so I can get you off air as quickly as possible and get back to my award-winning show. Sharif, we just came across a situation. Did you happen to be listening or watching?
I have not.
Okay, no worries. So,
why would I watch?
We're doing, because you do all the time. This is how you get show prep and know things. It's why you ask me to come on your show and things like that all the time, and you interview me for TV because I know things and you don't. Happens all the time.
Okay.
Yep, we're a digital era. It's all on Twitter. We can go look at it I could pull it up, dates and timestamps if you'd like. We could do all that. But let's not belabor the point. I'm trying to get you done and get you off the air. Okay, we're doing around the SEC, and we just stumble into what I think is the greatest concentration of Frat-tastic names ever as we're running through around the SEC. So do we have our music, our Sharif music? Yes. Okay. So I feel like I should save what I think is the kicker for last, and he's quite literally and figuratively the kicker. But I'll go ahead and lead with it. Auburn had a kicker named Towns Magoo. Now, it's M-C-G-O-U-G-H, so it might be Towns Magoo, but I'm going with Magoo. Towns Magoo. How do you rate Auburn kicker? Kicker, Sharif. Place kicker, Towns Magoo.
Towns Magoo is a Magoo for me, and let's go 5-star.
Woo, okay. Not to be outdone. In the same story, we talked about Auburn punter transfer Hudson Cack, K-A-A-K, Towns Magoo, Hudson Cack, not only in the same team, specialists on the same team. Hudson Cack, where do you rate it?
Unfortunately, we don't get a high grade on Hudson Cack because it's Hudson, and we know the name Hudson, but the last name's cool, so it's going to get deducted a lot, especially whenever you have a Towns Magoo, so that's only a 3.5 star for me. Sorry.
All right, 3.5 for Hudson Cack. But Towns Magoo, Hudson Cack, same team, specialists on the same team. We turn the page to Tennessee baseball. Sharif, in the same story about the same team. Now, this probably won't surprise you, right? Because we do find a lot of Frat-tastic names in SEC baseball. This is a commonality, yes?
Of course, baseball and lacrosse.
Okay, go lacrosse. See, this is why we get him. Catcher, Cannon Peebles. Dealing with an arm issue. Cannon Peebles. What do we grade Cannon Peebles? Cannon with a C. Cannon with a C, by the way.
Yes. I remember him from NC State. I was big on his name last year, still big on it this year. Cannon is at least getting me a 5-star.
Okay. Cannon Peebles. Not to be outdone, also on the Tennessee team. Not only on the Tennessee team, Sharif, but in the same position group. So with Cannon Peebles being injured, the two gentlemen that are vying for his playing time are Stone Lawless. Stone Lawless, how do we grade it?
Stone is another strong one, but I think it's going to be a high 4-star because I like Cannon Peebles a little bit more. So I'm going to go high 4-star on Stone.
And then also Levi Clark. Levi Clark, another catcher at Tennessee.
Can't keep giving out 5 stars, so he's going to be a 4.5 star.
All right, Levi Clark gets 4.5, Stone Lawless a high 4, Cannon Peebles a 5-star, which might make the greatest collection of frat-tastic name talent in one position group in the history of college baseball. I mean, could we argue that? Cannon Peebles, Stone Lawless, Levi Clark, all catchers at Tennessee at the same time?
You have to find me a better position group somewhere else, but so far, no. That's probably the best one I've heard. That position group is stellar when you have 4.5 to 5 stars right there.
Towns, Magoo, and Hudson Cack, the kickers at Auburn, or Cannon Peebles, Stone Lawless, Levi Clark, the catchers at Tennessee. Who are we rating higher?
Well, by grade, the catchers are going to win out because they have higher grades. Cumulative grade, but Towns is taking the cake for all the names, of course.
Are you going Towns, Magoo over Cannon Peebles?
Yeah.
Okay.
Towns. I like the name Towns Magoo. It just rolls.
Okay. What if, very quickly, what if we learn it's not actually Magoo and it's Mago?
I'm still good with it. I like the spelling. It sounds good. I mean, when you get the name Towns, how many times have you heard the name Towns in your life?
I know the last name Town. River Town is a baseball player. Another great name, by the way. All right, I have 10 seconds, so get off my show, and we'll hopefully never talk to you again.
Hopefully not. Call me when LSU has some names.
Sorry, hang up on it.
AFR.
We're brought to you by First South Farm Credit, firstsouthland.com, firstsouthland.com. If you're thinking of buying land, your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. Go to firstsouthland.com, firstsouthland.com. Look, we're at that time of year now where the new year has started, and this is when a lot of people, as you start looking toward the springtime and the summer, maybe it's the time where you start thinking, hey, look, are we being relocated? Maybe at the end of the school year when the kids get out, where are you going to move? Well, what if instead of moving into someone else's home, what if you build the home of your dreams? Well, First South Farm Credit can help make that a reality. It starts with buying that land. You want to go buy those 20 acres on the North Shore? In Covington, St. Francisville, wherever it may be, Mississippi? Build your family's dream home? It starts with the call to First South Farm Credit. They've been helping Louisianians buy land for more than 100 years. Log on to firstsouthland.com, firstsouthland.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Got chores that need some extra muscle, but a large piece of equipment is overkill? That's what John Deere compact utility tractors were made for. Powerful enough for the work you need to do. Compact enough for how you need to do it. Find the equipment that's right for you at Sunshine Quality Solutions. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, Know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. The Eagles today opened the practice window for defensive end Brandon Graham, who tore his left triceps in late November against the Rams. Graham holds the Eagles record, playing in 206 regular season games, and he's third on the team all-time in sacks. The Chiefs and Eagles will play for the Vince Lombardi Trophy in Super Bowl 59 a week from Sunday, which reminds our Adam Schefter there's no name on the Super Bowl MVP award.
We could very easily just name that the Tom Brady Super Bowl MVP. With Tom doing the color for this game, this Super Bowl, he'll be in attendance. Tom Brady could give out the Tom Brady Super Bowl MVP award to the winner of the Super Bowl MVP award. There's no reason not to put his name on that award.
Adam Schefter on Get Up. Brady won a record-setting 5 Super Bowl MVPs. Golf today, first round of the Pebble Beach Pro-Am. Jake Knapp, Justin Rose, Cam Davis tied for the lead at 7 under. Rory McIlroy with a hole-in-one today is 6 under.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy, coming up Friday as Patrick Mahomes chases a three-peat. Just how long do we think his career will actually be? It's Unsportsmanlike, weekday mornings at 6, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's rock! Go!
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, presented by Decision Critical, Concierge Nursing in Baton Rouge. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Used to. And Mr. Toby Tom Play. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Talk to Joe Doyle, bottom of this hour. Well, Scout's perspective on the 2025 LSU baseball Tigers. Ross Jackson will join us from Mobile 1 hour from right now. Get an update on day 3 of practice from the Senior Bowl, as they did wrap up practice there in Mobile today. They'll play the game over the weekend. A guy who played in the Senior Bowl back in 1999. 2-time first-team All-SEC. Guy spent his entire NFL career with the Atlanta Falcons and the Falcons Ring of Honor, and a good friend, Todd McClure, joins us for a couple of minutes here. Hey, Rue, how are you, man?
I'm doing good. How about yourself, Matt?
Man, I'm doing awesome. Hey, what was your Senior Bowl experience like?
Mine was pretty different. Actually, my honeymoon was at the Senior Bowl in Mobile. We had just got married a couple of days before. My wife got to spend more time with my dad, but it was unbelievable the first time to be out there and see all those the pro coaches and scouts doing one. I can remember doing one-on-one pass rush, and that's a big deal down there. And it was just a circle, like a bull in the ring, and all the eyes on you. It's a time guys can separate and make some money in a short period of time.
You know, you were 2-time first-team All-SEC. You went round 7. Do you feel like the Senior Bowl experience helped you?
It really did. You know, to an extent. I think some of those guys, they got to see me, and it was no hidden fact. I was a little bit short for a center and offensive lineman, but I was able to show how good my hands and my feet were at the Senior Bowl, and I can remember scouts coming up and being impressed, and they might not have known that before. So maybe they wrote my name down. I don't know if the Falcons did or what happened, but it was a good experience.
That's interesting, man. So we look at, and Todd McClure is our guest. You look, and there's 3 LSU linemen there this week: Emory Jones, Miles Frazier, and Garrett Dellinger. Of those 3 guys, knowing what you know about the experience and what coaches and scouts are looking for, who do you think among those 3 has the most to gain this week?
I would think it was the guy that has the least amount of height. We've heard everything all year about our 2 starting tackles and how good they are. So I think they're kind of slotted and they're already set. I don't know how much they can improve because of, what they put on tape. So, I would say Frazier, in my opinion.
Do you think Miles Frazier, and it's interesting because, he played guard at LSU, but the bowl game he played tackle, and he's getting work at tackle there in Mobile this week. Do you think he is more suited in the NFL game as a guard or a tackle?
It's a great problem to have for a guy if you can play guard and the tackle spot. I guess it depends on the scheme, Matt, but if he can go in and show that he can play both spots, every NFL roster, they have to dress most of the time 7 linemen, and they need a guy that can play both. And if you show you can play guard and tackle, it's a better way to get a spot and have a longer career.
Do you think he's capable of doing that?
I think so. I think people, just going back to myself, saw me, didn't know how I would translate to the NFL. I've heard him talk. I've heard him on y'all's show earlier this morning. He seems like he's capable of understanding the game, picking up a scheme quick. And if a guy is, you got to go in and study, and you got to go in and work. And if you can prepare, I think he's definitely capable.
Todd McClure is our guest, talking about the guys at the Senior Bowl this week. I'm a little surprised, honestly, that when I asked about the most to gain, you didn't mention Emory Jones, just because, Todd, there's a guy before the season who got a lot of first-round buzz as the season went along. Like, you don't really see him in first-round mock drafts anymore. What's your thoughts on the season that before we talk about the Senior Bowl specifically, what's your thought on the season that Emory had this year?
I think you look back at that group as a whole, and it was the critique all year on them in the running game. And I don't think everything falls on those guys' shoulders. I think some of it was scheme and the positions and the things we were trying to do. But his body of work, if they're slotting him in the second round, they obviously see some things that he put on tape that maybe doesn't translate or maybe think he needs to improve in. But I think if you look at him, his build, his pass sets, the way he plays the game, he's a guy that's definitely capable.
Is he – this is the real question for Jones, a guy who's played tackle his whole life. Is he more suited to play on the outside, or is he going to play in a phone booth at guard?
That's interesting because I think guys – I think it's a specialized set of tools to go out there and play on that edge. You're playing against the best athletes in the world, those defensive ends and pass rush linebackers. But so saying that, if you can play on the edge, it's easier to go from the outside in to the guard spot and play there. So I think he would do well.
It's going to be fascinating to watch. He's a physical dude who plays the mean streak. We know that, whichever spot he may line up there at the NFL and whoever drafts him. What about Garrett Dellinger, a guy who, had the last month of his senior year taken away from him because of the ankle injury? Let me first ask about the layoff, right? He hasn't played since the A&M game. So to go from that game, Todd, in October, all the way to now, how much rust do you think he would have this week there in Mobile?
Yeah, I was thinking about that earlier today, and I know, they got the best of the best at LSU, and I'm sure they helped him get to where he can go out there this week. But it definitely, it's like shooting the basketball. It's repetition after repetition, and your pass sets, you have to work it over and over. And when you don't do it for a long time or you don't get to do it against the true speed of the game, it's hard. So hopefully he was able to get some one-on-ones with some guys that were also trying to work and get ready for the draft. And because I really thought Dellinger was solid, man. When he was healthy, he played some good football, and he was a guy you really didn't have to worry about once they bumped him out to guard. he was going to play how he was going to play every day. He was a guy you could count on.
Todd McClure is with us, former Tiger great, of course, in the Falcons Ring of Honor, two-time first-team All-SEC, played in the Senior Bowl back in 1999. That's been 26 years, man. How does that make you feel?
Yeah, long time. Getting old. I feel it every morning.
Right, dude. I mean, well, I bet so, man. You also play 14 years in the NFL, man. Get your head, your body just battered every single day. I bet you do feel it every morning. Hey, one more I wanted to ask you about. Actually, two, if I could. Let me ask you about Mason Taylor, who's there as well. The big question about Taylor is, we all know he can catch, but can he block? Did you pay much attention to him in that part of the game this year or throughout his career? What's your thoughts generally on him as a blocker?
Yeah, I think he's going to be fine. You know, I played in Atlanta with one of the best tight ends ever played a game. He's got a gold jacket, Tony Gonzalez.
Mm-hmm.
He did not like blocking. And he came in, when he came into Atlanta, he told the offensive coordinator, I don't block power. I will not be on the front side of any run plays. If you want me, I'll be on the backside, cutting off the defensive end, or I'm going to be running routes, you know. So, yeah, the tight ends, and I think with the roster spots, teams can go get blocking tight ends. Most teams have blocking guys and then guys that they can split out, more route running guys, and I think he'll fit in that scheme. But he'll also improve as a blocker once he gets to the next level.
It's so good, man. Like, when you're Tony Gonzalez, you can call your shot, right? I think right now, if you're a rookie coming into the league, you're going to play wherever the hell they tell you you're going to play, and you're going to be happy to do it to try to collect a check in a roster spot. Hey, there's one other guy there in Mobile, which is Savion Jones on the defensive side. I mean, a guy that didn't really have much of a pass rush specialization at LSU, but a dude who played a lot of football and was pretty consistent. You got a general thought on Savion as he heads toward the NFL?
You know, I think he'll be one that has to go battle and compete for a roster spot. You know, he made a lot of plays for the Tigers, but you know, playing that end spot or wherever they're going to have him, you got to go make a mark, and you got to be willing to go play special teams, do whatever it takes to get a spot.
He's Todd McClure. Hey, man, remind everybody what you got going on, man. Around town. I mean, we always pump whatever you got going on, and like the wood company and everything, man. So let us know, man, how people can get in touch with what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely, man. 6M Antique Woods. We do all hardwood flooring, beams. We build custom furniture tables, things like that. And you know, also you can look us up on social media on our website, 6M Ranch and Antique Woods. Do that, fooling with bucking bulls, and if anybody's looking for a Super Bowl board to get on, Bayou Brothers on Facebook, go get on that Super Bowl board, man. We're trying to get it full for my man Adam Contrarian.
I love it, man. What is all right? So Bayou Brothers is the football board on Facebook for the Super Bowl. If anybody wants to get involved, and of course 6M Ranch, you can go check that out. Is it 6mranch.com?
Me and you went round.
Oh yeah, here it is.
That's Ranch and Antique Woods.
There it is.
You go.
There it is.
Facebook's probably the best. We do a lot on Facebook and Instagram.
6M Ranch, like the numeral 6M Ranch, antiquewoods.com. It's long, but you can find it. If you just go Google 6M Ranch, you'll find it there as well. But Facebook and Instagram. You still got TikTok rolling too, Todd?
Yeah, we got TikTok rolling.
Let's go.
We do a little TikTok too, you know.
Go check them out, man.
Definitely rolling.
Hey, man, we appreciate the time as always. I'm sure we'll catch up down the road, man. Thanks for the time.
All right, thanks, man.
All right, be well. That's Todd McClure. Yeah, see right here. If you go to the website at 6M Ranch Antique Woods, they've got Facebook, Pinterest, and Instagram linked all there on the homepage as well. So, dude's out there with bucking bulls and, slinging wood everywhere. Doors and beams and furniture. Good stuff, man. Beautiful stuff. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Appreciate Todd for the time. All right, it's after further review. We'll talk some LSU baseball bottom of this hour. Joe Doyle, baseball scout, will be here. Talk about the 2025 LSU Tigers through a scout's perspective of what LSU is getting on this team and who's going to be looking to hear their names called come July in the MLB draft. When I got a quick break. Of course, our Thursday shows is always brought to you by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing in Baton Rouge, decisioncriticalbr.com. If you haven't seen this story yet, I want to dive into it next. A Wisconsin player, since Diego Pavia sued the NCAA and won for his eligibility from JUCO, there's another player, a Wisconsin player, who is now doing the same thing trying to represent Division II athletes. You know, I got some thoughts on this. We'll get to it next on AFR.
After further review.
We're brought to you by the Watermark Hotel and the Renaissance Hotel. It's two amazing hotel properties, Watermark downtown, the Renaissance Southtown on Bluebonnet. Get on by the Renaissance Hotel. Remember, you can always go check out Tallulah inside the Renaissance Hotel. Chef-curated menu, Chef Jason Hebert, a Baton Rouge native who studied in Maine and San Francisco and points in between. He's brought all of his services and studies and knowledge back to Chef Jason right there, back to Baton Rouge, and he's put together an amazing menu at Tallulah. Try the pork chop. If you love pork chop, go to Tallulah, try the pork chop. Just trust me, you'll thank me later. But they got a great wine list. My guy Nathaniel over there at Tallulah and at the Renaissance has done an awesome job curating their whiskey list as well. A great whiskey selection at Tallulah. So you knock off of work, you want to go have a cocktail, a glass of wine, a beer. They got great indoor-outdoor flow at Tallulah. It's all right there inside the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet. It's Tallulah. Great for that business lunch as well. Tallulah inside the Renaissance Hotel.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Got chores that need some extra muscle, but a large piece of equipment is overkill? That's what John Deere compact utility tractors were made for. Powerful enough for the work you need to do. Compact enough for how you need to do it. Find the equipment that's right for you at Sunshine Quality Solutions. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
Hey, remember, Wednesday is B12 shot day over at Decision Critical. They have their clinic from 11 to 1. You can go in, walk-ins always welcome, get a B12 shot, get that boost, help your energy, help your mood, help your immunity. B12 shots every Wednesday at Decision Critical in clinic on Highland Road near I-10 in Baton Rouge. Of course, for everything else, they'll come to you, decisioncriticalbr.com. They'll come to you for a B12 shot as well if you want. But anyway, all right, it's after further review. Glad you're with us. Talk some baseball with Joe Doyle, a big league scout. We'll do that here in about 15 minutes, about 12 minutes from right now. We'll talk to Joe Doyle about the LSU baseball Tigers for 2025, looking ahead to this talented group of prospects. File this story away. A few weeks ago, we talked about Diego Pavia, Vanderbilt quarterback who sued the NCAA for another year of eligibility. Remember, Pavia began his career at the junior college level before jumping into Division I football, where he was at New Mexico State, and then transferred to Vanderbilt. But the 5-to-play-4 clock started as soon as Diego Pavia went to JUCO. Like every other junior college player. You go junior college, it starts your clock. Well, what Diego Pavia argued was that, well, he was playing junior college, which is not sanctioned by the NCAA. It's the National Junior College Collegiate Athletic Association. So there's no reason why his NCAA eligibility should be affected because he was playing in a completely different league. That was his argument. And a judge granted him a stay. And while they continued to work through it, sided with Pavia in the interim. And so the NCAA said, all right, so we don't have 1,000 players come sue us. Blanket waiver for 1 year for all the junior college players. They will have eligibility. So if you're out of eligibility, but you played in junior college, you have 1 year of eligibility in 2025, like Diego Pavia. And we've seen some players take advantage of it. Well, it's the old, you give a mouse a cookie, he'll want a glass of milk. And now it's expanded even further, or could be expanding even further. So Wisconsin cornerback Nizer Forkarine has also sued the NCAA. But he is saying that his 5-year eligibility clock, the 5-to-play-4, shouldn't have started while he was playing for 2 years at Grand Valley State, which, as we know very well from Brian Kelly being at Grand Valley and JVR Suggs coming in, that Grand Valley is a Division II school. Here's the problem. And by the way, if you're wondering, like, why does Diego Pavia want more eligibility? Why does Nizer Forkarine want more eligibility? NIL. They can make money now. Like Diego Pavia, for whatever you think of him as a prospect, is not going to be an NFL player. He's small, doesn't have a great arm. Like, he's not going to make it in the NFL. He's not an NFL talent. He's not. But in college, he's a dynamic collegiate quarterback who just led Vanderbilt to a 500 record. He has name recognition and status and stature, certainly at Vanderbilt after upsetting Alabama and having some nice wins this season, beat Auburn. So he's got an opportunity to do one of two things. You go back to Vanderbilt on an NIL deal and make money, which would be your highest earning potential of your career, or you try to go kick it in the XFL or something, but more than likely you're back home selling insurance. No disrespect to anybody who sells insurance. It's awesome. Just the generic career we talk about sometimes with ex-athletes. You understand what I mean. But anyway, I get it. So all of these players who realize they don't have an NFL future, but could hang in college for another year, maybe continue to work on a graduate degree and make NIL money, they're going to do it if they can. The problem, whereas I understand Diego Pavia's plight, I understand that. He was playing junior college, completely different league. How is that any different through my lens? How is that any different than someone who graduates high school and goes and starts a professional career and then comes back to football? I mean, we've seen professional athletes in other sports go play professional ball and then come back to football. We've seen it at LSU. We saw Joe Lawrence do it. We saw Matt Mock do it. We saw Zach Von Rosenberg do it. We saw Josh Booty do it. I mean, that happens all the time. Guys go make money in another professional sport and then come back and their 5-to-play-4 clock starts when they enroll in school. I get it that Pavia and the JUCO guys were playing football, but they weren't playing in the NCAA. So why should it be any different? In my estimation, it shouldn't. So I'm okay with that. The difference is, again, junior college isn't sanctioned by the NCAA. Division II is sanctioned by the NCAA. It is the same thing. There are different levels of it, but it's no different than in the LHSAA, you've got 5A and 4A and 3A and 2A and 1A. It's just the size of the schools. No different here. You have FBS, FCS, Division II, Division III, but they're all sanctioned by the NCAA. It is inherently different. They're different levels, but you wouldn't look at a high school athlete and say, well, you've been playing in Class 2A for 4 years, but since you were playing in 2A and now you're bigger and stronger and more viable, you can go play in Class 5A for another year. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And I don't think this makes any sense. And y'all know I am as staunchly pro-student athlete as anyone. I've told you this. Like, if there is a sliding scale, right, and on this side, it's people who hate NIL, hate the transfer portal, think athletes shouldn't get paid a lick and nobody should transfer. And, like, on this side is pay them whatever they want, let them transfer as much as they want. I'm, like, 1,000 yards over this way. Like, I mean, I give them everything. Let student athletes have whatever they want. I know a lot of you disagree with that. And I'm admitting to you that I am an extremist in this conversation. So if I am saying in this instance, no, a Division II athlete shouldn't have extra eligibility, you know it's coming from a place of legitimacy. So I wish that kid well, but the problem is then if you allow a Division II athlete this same extension, Division III athletes are going to want it, and FCS athletes are going to want it, and then every athlete is going to want it. And then really you don't have ever any limit on eligibility, because what would in turn happen is players who aren't destined for the NFL will just stay in school forever because you wouldn't have any eligibility limit. And I guess you could shrug your shoulders and say, what's the big deal? I think at some point it's not a good thing when you have 18-year-olds playing a physical game of this caliber against like 27-year-olds. There's just too much of a gap there. Like, when guys go to the NFL, you are physically mature enough to play in that league. And then it's just a matter of how do you age out of the league. But I can put a strong, healthy, physically developed, mature 22-year-old on an NFL field against a 31-year-old, and that 22-year-old may whip the 31-year-old. I think you're talking about a giant difference if you take an 18-year-old and try to put him on an NFL field or against people that are a decade older. That's where, if you're sincerely thinking about things like player safety, you have to have those legitimate conversations. And those things don't come into play as much in other sports like basketball and baseball because you're not talking about the physicality. There are 18-year-olds who are physically ready to play in the NBA. Not many of them, but they exist. There are 18-year-olds who can go play minor league baseball and hang in A-ball. It's just like Connor Griffin is going to go play A-ball somewhere this year and probably crush it. Like, he's ready to do that. I don't think you're going to take Harlem Berry off of the field at St. Martin Episcopal, a 5-star, and put him in an NFL backfield and say, go get it, kid, and he's going to crush it. There's just a different level of physicality. I think the same correlation would happen if you're having 25, 27, 28-year-old college athletes, fields littered with them. Just what do you want your game to be becomes ultimately the question. So I get the Pavia ruling. I'm not okay with this one, but we'll follow it and see ultimately what happens as a Wisconsin defensive back who started his career in Division II, Grand Valley, is suing the NCAA saying, hey, my 5 to play 4 clock shouldn't have started until I got into the FBS. We'll see. All right, it's after further review. Let me knock out a quick break. We'll come back. We'll talk a little LSU baseball with Joe Doyle. Stick around.
After further review.
Man, I love telling you about Clegg's Nursery. Hey, last week, all the snow came, and when everything thawed out, I mean, you've seen this probably in your yard, in your neighborhood, at your office building. Man, a lot of those beautiful green flowers and plants and shrubs and trees are all brown now because of that snow. Just because it's brown, it doesn't necessarily mean it's time to go pruning. I would highly recommend before you do that, you go check out Clegg's. Go to Clegg's and ask, or they got tons of resources on their Facebook page about what signs to look for, different types of plants and flowers, etc. If you made it through okay and you're looking at this 77-degree weather today, remember, it's a great time to get by Clegg's because every day they got shipments of flowers and plants and new beautiful bedding flowers arriving, and it is an awesome time just to go plant something. I mean, the 70-degree weather's here today, but we're going to keep getting cold snaps here for a few more months before we move on into the springtime. But this is the time where if you want to plant a tree to get it in the ground, go and see our friends today at Clegg's Nursery.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Got chores that need some extra muscle, but a large piece of equipment is overkill? That's what John Deere compact utility tractors were made for. Powerful enough for the work you need to do. Compact enough for how you need to do it. Find the equipment that's right for you at Sunshine Quality Solutions. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
A big factor in my decision is having Coach Jay Johnson there as the head coach. Me and Jay Johnson have had a relationship since I was in 7th grade. He's obviously a great coach and has done great things in Baton Rouge, and I'd love to play for a coach and a man like him. And going to watch that Texas A&M series, I flew out to go watch it, and it was electric, and I was like, this is where I want to be, and this is the place where I feel like I'll develop best over the next 2 to 3 years.
That's Derek Curiel, freshman phenom coming into LSU, and looks like he's coming in hot, taking the first reps with the first unit out in left field. That was an interview he did that Curiel did on the Hunt Palmer show after he made the decision to forego the draft and show up in Baton Rouge. One guy that we will be keeping an eye on when the Tigers throw out first pitch here 2 weeks from tomorrow. Joe Doyle, no doubt, will have his eye on it as well. Longtime scout, and get him on Twitter at Joe Doyle, MILB. He's now the lead draft analyst at Future Star Series. You can catch Joe there. Also, Overslot Podcast. Joe, we appreciate it, man. How are you? Good to talk to you again, man.
I'm good, Matt. How are you, man? It's good to connect again. I enjoyed the show last year. Looking forward to chatting.
Thanks, man. We appreciate the time as always. Great time of year, man. The people here are geeked. Obviously, LSU baseball is just a religion, so you get to this time of year, people want to find out about a lot of the new guys. And Curiel's one of them, man. How surprised, or were you surprised at his decision to forego the draft and come to campus?
Yeah, I think I was on your show actually. I said in May or June, scouts coming into the spring of 2024 just wanted to see Derek Curiel add weight, add impact, add muscle. And he just, it's tough at that age. He just didn't. He wasn't any more physical than he was from the summer of 2023 in 2024. And so, when you have an LSU commitment and you're a kid that expects to get first round money because you're a first round talent and it's just not there, going to Baton Rouge made a whole lot of sense. And what happens? Curiel shows up, he puts on 12 to 15 pounds, and he looks like a force at the top of the lineup now. So good on him.
You think he's a guy that can play day one and hold? We know defensively he can do it, but offensively can hang in the SEC?
Yeah, well, I think one of his best tools is the hit tool. I don't know if the power is going to be there from day one. We'll see. He's never been a kid that really tapped into a whole lot of power in high school. So we'll see whether or not the added muscle results in bigger exit velos and more loft. But he's going to be able to play left field. He's going to be able to play center field in Baton Rouge, and he's going to get on base at a high clip. So I actually expect that he's going to be on that opening day lineup card.
You know what's interesting too, Joe? Like, we're looking at the outfield. Like, LSU returns Jake Brown, and they return Ashton Larson, and they return Josh Pearson. I mean, those guys are three guys that started in the regional for them. But it seems like Curiel's got a spot. Chris Stanfield coming in from Auburn probably has a spot as well. So they're trying to figure this thing out. Make sense of that room. However you want to take it, Joe. Like, you got a lot of dudes. Jay Johnson said they got as many as 8 guys they could run out there. Make sense of that outfield for me.
Yeah, I mean, the guys that you're talking about are significant contributors, but what they are not, at least in spades, is they're not like ultimate athletes. They're not super athletes, right? Stanfield gives you that twitchy, fast first step, can go get it in the outfield, can contribute on offense, can do a little bit of everything. And I think some of those guys that you mentioned, Jake Brown, such a good hitter. He's going to be a really, really good player, and I think he's going to tap into more power. Ashton Larson, Josh Pearson, these guys are all good players, but what they're maybe not is they're not the well-rounded player that a Derek Curiel could become, that a Chris Stanfield already is. And so when you have a little bit more dynamic talent, a little bit more ability to impact the game everywhere, it makes it so that outfield will probably hear their names called a little bit more than they did in 2024 this spring.
I'll go like the completely opposite end of the spectrum here. We'll go behind the dish because we're talking about Curiel. Well, the other freshman position player that people are really excited about is Cade Arambidi. LSU's losing 3 catchers off of last year's team, and so it's going to be totally new back there. You got Arambidi, you got Blaze Priester coming in, and then you got Hernandez coming in as well from Indiana State. But it kind of seems like Arambidi may have the early lead, a little early beat there. When you look at Arambidi, that's another one. Were you surprised how his process played out, that he ended up on campus?
I hope this doesn't sound disparaging to these players, because I don't mean it this way. Cade Arambidi absolutely mashes, and he has a huge, huge throwing arm. But Arambidi was hot and cold last summer when it came to blocking the ball out in front and when it came to receiving the ball. He needed to improve in those areas. And the thing that makes LSU so unique is if a player has we'll call it a hole in his game, an area that needs to improve, something that takes a player for a scout or for a front office from a first-round player to, let's say, a third-round player. It's really, really hard for a player that has an LSU commitment to accept third-round money. And so do I think that Arambidi would have gotten drafted if he would have accepted, getting money in the 60 to 100 range? Yeah, I do. But I also think Arambidi, with what his commitment has been for quite some time, looked at it and said, if I'm not going to get $3.5 million, I'm going to go mash in the SEC for a couple of years, and I'm going to make my $3.5 million in 2027, 2028, what have you. So do I think he's got the lead? Yes. It sounds like, in talking to different coaches out there, his receiving skills and his blocking skills and his just general mobility behind the plate has impressed people over there. And so you tack that on with the arm talent, and you got a guy back there that can hold the running game and impact the running game, throwing people out.
What about Luis Hernandez? What do you know about him?
Luis Hernandez actually came through the Future Star Series program as a high schooler, and he'll bang. I actually think Luis Hernandez is probably going to play quite a bit more first base than he is going to catch. It wouldn't surprise me if he catches once a week. But in terms of defensive tools and traits and like pure talent behind the plate, Aaron Biddy is going to be the guy that really can flip an inning on its head.
It's interesting because you got Bear Jones, who obviously is going to play a lot of first base. I guess you could DH him and they could be interchangeable there. Then what do you do with a guy like Blaze Priester, who a lot of people here he's a local kid, who everyone thought, John, I don't know if you remember this, but Priester, when he was coming out of Live Oak, it was his own admission. Like he had every intention of signing. Ended up going the JUCO route, and now he's back at LSU. But like, how does Priester fit into that? I guess it's a good problem to have with all these guys, but how does he fit into the mix?
Yeah, you got Eddie Amin too, who's a 6'5". Listen, it's pretty hard to catch at any level when you're 6'5", and he might be more of an insurance policy than anything. But Priester is good depth. And he fits kind of the more prototypical catcher's build. He's got the durable 6'2", 230 pound frame. He can throw it. He can hit a little bit. But yeah, I think he's probably going to be third in the pecking order. And as we've seen in college baseball, people, strain hamstrings, they break hamate bones, they do little things here and there that cost them 3 weeks. And having a guy like a Blaze Priester is only going to benefit the LSU Tigers when you get into those dog days.
Joe Doyle is with us. Get him on Twitter or X at Joe Doyle, MILB. He's lead draft analyst over at the Future Star Series. You can all get the Overslot podcast as well, wherever you get your podcast. Hey, Joe, do you find that NIL is changing any of these conversations when you're scouting young guys and talking about whether or not they're going to sign or they're going to show up on a college campus?
Yeah, without question. I will say that one thing that at least I've noticed is the NIL conversation in the public sphere is way overblown. The amount of money that is being thrown around on Twitter and in social circles, suggesting what these kids are making is at least in baseball, is way overblown. Now, is it impacting a team's ability, a la Jared Jones, to draft a player like that in the 6th or 7th round and give him a reason to leave Baton Rouge in an NIL deal? Yes, those are the instances where you're seeing a kid go to school or go back to school. Also in the JUCO routes, you're not going to take a JUCO arm like a Connor Ware, for example, on day 3 when he's got an NIL deal to go to LSU, make a little bit of money for himself. But on the high school side of things, not really. NIL had nothing to do with K-Darren Biddy or Derek Curiel or William Schmidt. A lot of these players won't see any real money at all until their sophomore year, once they've proven themselves. So is it changing the landscape? Yes, but probably not in spots of the draft that you expect. And it's certainly not moving the needle in 99% of cases in the first or even early second round.
I'm glad you brought up Connor Ware, because I did want to ask you about some of these arms, and Joe Doyle's our guest. Ware, Ianson, Zach Cohen. There's so many of these guys. Unfortunately, we're not going to get to see Devin Sheeran this year, but there's so many of these guys that are taking a step up. Which do you think maybe has the biggest opportunity this year, going from a lower level, stepping up into the SEC?
That's a great question. From a stuff standpoint, I think Jacob Myers has a chance to showcase one of the best fastballs in the SEC. The metrics that you get on it, the arm speed that you get on it, the swing and miss that he showed last year. Now, Jacob Myers is going to have to show that he can throw strikes. Your fastball is only as good as where you spot it. So I do think he could be, if he doesn't carve out a weekend role, he could become a guy that comes in the 6th or the 7th or the 8th inning and just blows it by an entire lineup. I do think that Connor Ware is probably a name to look out for. If I'm not mistaken, he was on the team last year, or maybe he wasn't. I'm trying to recall. But it sounds to me, in talking with different people, that Connor Ware had a huge fall. The strikes are better. The velo is ticking back up in the right direction. And it's all coming from the left side. And that's one thing that this LSU team doesn't have a ton of. They've got Cade Anderson, but they don't have that lefty that can either pitch in the middle innings or can start in the midweek and get lefty heavy lineups out. So Those would be the two guys that I think are interesting. The guy that I think is who's going to have the biggest impact at LSU is Anthony Ianson. He's got 4 pitches. He throws strikes. He's an athlete. He's pitched in big games. He's pitched for Team USA. He is the definition of a weekend starter. And I think the name that you're going to be talking about more than anybody of the bunch is going to be Ianson.
I could sit here and probably ask you about literally every guy on the roster. It's just a great time to have these conversations as well. But let me get one more because it's almost obligatory, Joe. Every conversation about LSU baseball right now, someone's got to mention Chase Shores. And I don't know how much of that is hype, how much of it is reality. We haven't seen him throw, and we haven't seen him throw in a game since he had the UCL. So, Chase Shores, go. What's your thoughts?
He's a monster. How do you not talk about a 6
right?
foot?
That doesn't help mute any of the conversation around him.
But how do you not talk about a 6'9", 255-pound righty who throws 100?
Yeah.
It's impossible not to. The flashes that we saw of him in 2023 were good, not great. But if he's throwing strikes, and that's going to be the biggest question with Shores, is he has the breaking ball, he has the sinker. If he's throwing strikes, it's one of the best ground ball, barrel breaking, knuckle shattering sinkers in the country. It's an absolutely devastating fastball. 98 in on the hands and just boring in on the kneecaps. Chase Shores, don't get me wrong, he has a ton to prove this year, especially in his draft eligible year here. But when you're talking about a guy that can control his body at 6'9" and 21 years old, and he throws 100, it's impossible not to get very, very excited. So he's probably the biggest question mark on the LSU roster this year. And if I'm being totally honest, despite all of the pitching that LSU has, and they have a ton, Chase Shores might be the key to Omaha for the Tigers this year.
That's a great way to punctuate it. We didn't even get to talk about Dickinson, Mila moving to the left side. We didn't talk about William Schmidt. We got to have you back because we got a ton more to dive into before the Tigers start playing ball. Joe Doyle, make sure you get him on Twitter at Joe Doyle, MILB. You can get the Overslot podcast wherever you get podcasts. And of course, he's the lead draft analyst there at Future Star Series. So make sure you follow his work. Joe, we appreciate it, man. We'll catch up down the line.
All right. Appreciate you, Matt.
It's our pleasure. Joe Doyle, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Evamore, EVAMOR, Evamore.com, Evamore.com. Drink Evamore, y'all. Pass on that crinkly water bottle from Texas, man. It's a Louisiana product, a natural artesian well on the North Shore of Lake Pontchartrain there in Covington. They built the bottling facility around the well. That well has been there, just perfecting in Mother Earth for centuries. That's not a fairy tale. That's true. This is natural artesian water. Nothing added, nothing taken away. It's a healthier form of hydration. It's Evamore. EVAMOR, Evamore.com. Okay, quick break. We'll come back. Muse will have Tigers in the pros. We're headed to Mobile for one final check-in in about 15 minutes. Ross Jackson will have it for us. It's AFR.
AFR.
If you haven't done it yet, you owe it to yourself, to your business, to check out Action Industries. If you work in the petrochemical refinery market, if you're responsible for collecting bids for these jobs you got coming up inside the fence, and you're not familiar with Action Industries, you need to be. And maybe it's one of those things where you're a giant company and you have these mega projects, and maybe what you honestly need is just a company to help supplement your mega projects. You need additional labor resources. Action Industries can do that. But remember, at Action Industries, they know themselves. That, 100-person job, you are getting the absolute best of everything they have. Whereas if you go hire one of these mega contractors, that may be small potatoes to them. So they know who they are and they've perfected their craft. It's Action Industries. ActionIndinc.com for Action Industries Incorporated. It's Action Industries, proud partner of LSU Athletics.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They're nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Got chores that need some extra muscle, but a large piece of equipment is overkill? That's what John Deere compact utility tractors were made for. Powerful enough for the work you need to do. Compact enough for how you need to do it. Find the equipment that's right for you at Sunshine Quality Solutions. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
Wrapping up hour number 2. Always appreciate our friends over at Decision Critical. You can learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com. Told you my own personal experience. Blasia, who is the founder, CEO, she was a CV nurse when Drew was a baby. She helped care for our son. I mean, there's no greater trust you can have in a person. So it's very personal for me to endorse Decision Critical. I could not give them any possible higher recommendation. In-home nursing care. It's not just health care. It's health care for your lifestyle. You can learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com. We're heading to Mobile in about 10 minutes. We'll check in with Ross Jackson from LouisianaSports.net. Get an update on the final day of practices there from the Senior Bowl right now. Muso, Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
Ben Simmons on Wednesday night. 23 minutes in a reserve role for the Nets. He was 4 of 6 from the field, 2 of 3 from the free throw line, and 0 for 0 from behind the arc. 10 points in all, though, and 6 assists. Really solid night for Ben.
Benny boy.
The Nets got to win. How about that?
Retire his jersey.
Okay, yeah. Retire his jersey.
Number 1 overall pick, bro.
He was. PGA Golf, excuse me. Kind of blanked there for a minute. Pebble Beach Pro-Am underway out there on the Monterey Peninsula. Sam Burns, 3 under par. He's through 17 right now. He's playing the Pro-Am with Eric Church, country star. So that's
Take Me to Church.
That's an interesting pairing there with those two.
That's that song, right?
That is not that song. Nope. That's not it.
What is that song then?
That's Church or it's Hosier, right? But I don't remember the name of the actual song. Anyway, out on the Korn Ferry Tour. Ben Taylor is 2 under par, tied for 20th, completing his first round at the Panama Championship. Athletes Unlimited softball's coming back, Matt. Fired up for that?
About Curtis Thompson.
I'm sorry, he's not playing this week.
See, I just don't believe that. I think you're just lazy and you didn't go find out where he's playing.
That's not what happened at all. I went through both tours that he'd be playing on, and he wasn't playing.
Did you call him?
No, I don't have his number.
Did you DM him?
I don't think he has open DMs.
Instagram.
Not always true, as I've figured out.
Find out who his agent is.
Each other.
Find out who his agent is. Or you can go talk to Chuck Winstead, the former LSU coach. You can get your contact for him. You get in touch. This is how you do it, Muse. You got a network, man.
You
work the back channel.
All for a Curtis Thompson stat line.
Because details matter.
Okay. I mean, I got you Athletes Unlimited softball league here. They had their draft a night ago, and the Blaze took 3 LSU players: Carly Hoover, Sierra Briggs, and Aaliyah Andrews.
Let's go.
And then the Talons selected Savannah Jaquish. So 4 former Tigers going to be playing in Athletes Unlimited softball. That's Tigers in the pros.
Savannah Jaquish. Goat.
She was really good.
Was she a 4-time first-team All-American?
I mean, she was awesome.
Retire her jersey while you're at it. Hey, we're brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com. Shop them online, then go test drive. Their airline just north of Highland. Maybe you live outside of Baton Rouge. No sweat. It's worth a drive. They can save you money. Check the website, southpointvw.com. You can work out your financing, everything right there at the website, southpointvw.com. South Point Volkswagen. What's your direction? All right, putting a button here on hour number 2. Get you caught up on national headlines from Sports Center here in just a smidge. When we come back, we are going to head out to Mobile. Ross Jackson will be here with us, get an update on the final day of Senior Bowl practices and the latest on the Saints coaching search. That's all next. It's AFR.
AFR.
This is the day you do it. I've made the decision for you. You're welcome. This is the day for everyone who has heard me say it, for everyone who has sat on the fence, for everyone who has thought about making that phone call, for everyone who has ever woken up in the morning blind as a bat, felt your way through your bedroom into the bathroom, found your contacts case and shoved that contact lens in your eye. And then when you drive and it's foggy and blurry and you got to blink, or you get water in your eye or an eyelash in your eye and you got to pull the contact out and then you tear it, or you're terrified to go into the water at the beach or the pool because what if you knock a contact out, or if you do and then you're blind? End that existence. Wake up in the morning every day and see perfectly. The Williamson Eye Center can help. Call 924-2020.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Got chores that need some extra muscle, but a large piece of equipment is overkill? That's what John Deere compact utility tractors were made for. Powerful enough for the work you need to do. Compact enough for how you need to do it. Find the equipment that's right for you at Sunshine Quality Solutions. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets and feel the thrill of every play with our DraftKings Sportsbook. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. Eagles defensive end Brandon Graham is hoping to be able to play in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs. Graham tore his left triceps 2 months ago against the Rams and said after the game he'd miss the rest of the season. The team opened Graham's practice window today. As for the Chiefs, quarterback Patrick Mahomes with some thoughts on his head coach, Andy Reid.
He doesn't care if he's playing Week 18 or Week 1 or Super Bowl or preseason game. He's the same. He's the same. He's going to expect greatness out of you. And when you leave the building, he wants you to be a better person than when you got in the building.
Patrick Mahomes. Right-hander Max Scherzer will sign a 1-year, $15.5 million contract with the Blue Jays pending a physical. The 40-year-old made only 9 starts for the Rangers last year because of injuries. Of the 60 passengers on the American Airlines flight that crashed near D.C. last night, 14 of them were members of the figure skating community, including skaters and coaches from U.S. figure skating. They were flying back from a development camp in Wichita, Kansas.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. At Progressive, they're making things even easier. They'll help you bundle your home and car insurance together so you can save on both. Learn more at progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's ride!
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Decision Critical, Concierge Nursing in Baton Rouge. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Musso. And Mr. Toby Tom Plate. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. We'll take a look at some of the Saints free agents might be flying the coop after this year. LSU women's basketball against Oklahoma tonight, about an hour from right now. First tip, big one, top 15 matchup. Women trying to do some of the hard work that the men are struggling to do right now, keep us engaged in the hardwood for the remainder of the season. But nothing boring about what's going on with the New Orleans Saints. We may not be optimistic about them, but they're certainly interesting. Ross Jackson's been all over it for LouisianaSports.net and the Locked On Saints podcast. He's in Mobile as final practice day in Mobile was today. He's good enough to join us. How are you, dude?
Hey, buddy. Doing great. Glad to be here with you.
Thanks, man. Of course, always. And we'll get to the Saints coaching stuff in a second. Let's focus on the final practice day there in Mobile. I loved the write-up you had yesterday with the standouts. You can get it for free over at LouisianaSports.net, by the way. Shout out. Who were the guys that caught your eye today?
Yeah, firstly, I want to say I love that we'll push the coaching search towards the latter half because it seems that's the approach that the Saints have taken as well.
Hey!
All right, we got one.
On his game. How about that? You love it. Yes.
All right. This is great. This is how I love to start a good radio call. do my best right away, and then I'm just going to stink from here forward.
Just disappoint us the rest of the way.
Just all the way downhill from here.
Yeah.
No, but the guys that have stood out, I mean, there's been some outstanding players, some local guys, of course, LSU Tigers offensive lineman Emory Jones is somebody that I was really looking forward to seeing here this week. Of course, spent most of his time playing on the edge as a tackle during his time over at LSU, at least here recently, but he's done some things to kind of move inside. A lot of people are projecting him to be a guard at the next level, and he just balled out when they gave him the opportunity to play at left guard in particular, which suspiciously aligns with one of the New Orleans Saints' biggest needs over on the offensive line. So I think we did some research before over at LouisianaSports.net about how often LSU Tigers are drafted to the Saints, and they draft them probably about every 9 years or so. And so they're a little overdue at the moment. So maybe Emory Jones is the guy that could potentially do that. Another guy that's got some local ties, Jack Bich, the wide receiver from TCU, who, of course, lost his brother in the New Orleans terrorist attack on January 1st on New Year's Eve, or New Year's, excuse me. And so even with that cloud that's sort of been hanging over him, his maturity, his willingness to address, to speak, to talk, I mean, just all of it is there. And this is just a guy that just has his head on the right way and kind of made the transition from tight end to wide receiver, which you don't see very often. And he has just been a jump ball guy, an awesome producer so far here throughout the week. He had another strong day today. And one of the other guys that I've really been watching is the defensive end out of Boston College, Donovan Ezeraku. He's the guy at 16 and a half sacks last season, ridiculous numbers. And, you know, look, he's usually not what the Saints would look for at 6'2", 250 plus pounds, but well, we got to see, right? The Saints have made a lot of mistakes with the way that they've drafted and utilized players, particularly over the defensive side. You look at guys like Trey Hendrickson, Zach Bond, folks that have exited and gone off to do better in other systems. The Saints are going to change their system this offseason, right? They're going to have a new defensive coordinator. And so because of that, all of a sudden, these guys like Zach Bond, who had 12 and a half sacks the season that he finished at Wisconsin, might actually be able to walk into a system and do the thing that got him drafted by the team that drafted him. You could now see the Saints doing something like that based on like what their new system could be. So now there's kind of this advantage or this really exciting time to where every player is all of a sudden draftable, and you're not just taking them off of the board based on how tall they are and how they distribute their weight.
What about the relative athletic score? Where are we with that with these guys?
Yeah, we'll start to see some of that once the.
I was completely kidding.
Really
I was completely kidding. That was.
I was ready to go into that though. Did you see that?
You were like
so ready.
I noticed you were doing the right thing and trying to give me a totally legitimate answer, but my tongue was firmly planted in my cheek there. I don't give a rip. The relative athletic score is why the Saints drafted Marcus Davenport and Peyton Turner. Flush that down the toilet, dog.
I think it was also why they drafted Rick Leonard. I don't know if you remember that or not.
Dude, Rick Leonard from Florida State. Absolutely, I remember Rick Leonard. Are you kidding me? Do you know how many times in the history of this show I have gone to the Pro Football Focus Saints draft history and just read through it as an illustration, like on air, just read through it as an illustration of how bad this team is at doing the thing they're supposed to be really good at? I mean, it's yes. I mean,
it's rough.
It's
been rough.
Yeah, we could go all day. I mean, you want to throw one out? Throw one out. I mean, Rick Leonard, I got you. You want to talk about Charles Brown, second rounder out of USC? We can go. What about Matt?
I know a particular third-round wide receiver that I probably shouldn't bring up.
Why in the world would you do that? You want to put me in a bad mood? That's how you do. You start talking about Traquan Smith. And I was actually excited about Traquan Smith when they took him at the time. All right. Anyway, remember the guy? Now I'm blanking. 2010. I know the year. 2010. Matt Tennant out of Boston College.
Oh, yes.
I was thinking in my head Matt Zenitz, but that's the guy from On 3 or 24/7 now. One of them.
Oh, yeah.
The guy who breaks all the news about recruits and whatnot. All right, Ross Jackson. Let me veer back to the path. By the way, is the Saints brass there in Mobile this week? Who is representing the Saints this week?
Yeah, so there are scouts that are here. We've seen some of the front office here as well, McClure included. And we've seen, of course, several assistant coaches that are here as a part of the Senior Bowl that are working on the coaching staff. The majority of the folks that aren't here are folks like assistant coaches and position coaches and things like that. But those guys don't know, kind of where they sit right now. They're all waiting to see once the Saints hire a head coach if they've got a job in New Orleans or if they need to be headed elsewhere. And that's one of the reasons why you've started to see sort of the exodus, or at least the interest to interview elsewhere for some of these other offensive coaching staff members, defensive coaching staff members as well, with linebackers coach Michael Hodges heading over to Cincinnati, for instance. And so those are really the guys that are missing is the coaching staff. But it's understandable because you're probably not going to say, hey, come to Mobile with us, and then, then not have a job for you by the time you get back to New Orleans.
Ross Jackson's here at Ross Jackson Nola on Twitter, LouisianaSports.net. He's got your Saints coverage. Of course, subscribe to the Locked On Saints podcast as well, YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. I am interested because the Saints do prioritize the Senior Bowl. This organization always has. And I think quarterback is interesting. Have you had any takeaways from the quarterbacks this week, good, bad? What has stood out for whatever reason at quarterback?
Yeah, I think you've seen some individually solid performances here and there. Like Jalen Milroe had probably his best day today relative to the days that he had beforehand. Jackson Dart out of Ole Miss has probably been the most successful quarterback thus far, but I don't think anybody has shown up throughout those three practices as a quarterback and raised their draft stock, right? And look, that happens sometimes, just other times it doesn't happen. But I don't think that there's been a ton of impressions on the positive that have these guys kind of shooting up boards or generating excitement or anything like that when it comes to the quarterbacks so far here in Mobile. And that was to be expected, right? Like, this is a quarterback class that has two guys at the top that have major question marks and then the rest of the players. And so I think this is a relatively weak quarterback class, which is actually a good thing for New Orleans. Like, we talked about their drafting history and things like that. This draft is loaded at most positions, which is really, really helpful for them and allows you to be able to kind of more likely swing at a higher percentage. Particularly, there's a lot of talk here in Mobile that the picks between 20 and 60 kind of a similar value in terms of what you can get in terms of talent level of player and things like that. And so I think somebody estimated maybe only 9 first-round grades in this draft class for a lot of NFL teams. And so it's not a super top-heavy class that has, a large population. I would consider it a shallow class at the very top. But then you have a lot of guys that can be long-term, NFL starters if they land in the right system with the right coaching and the right leadership and things like that. So it's a good opportunity for a team like New Orleans that has a lot of needs across its roster.
All right, Ross, with a couple minutes left, let's kind of get the obligatory update here on the search. Am I to understand that the Saints, I've been looking for this, but they're done interviewing. They're not going to consider any other candidates. The interviews they've done, that's it. It's going to be among this group.
That is my understanding, yes, is that the 4 that they have interviewed thus far, Anthony Weaver, Darren Rizzi, Mike Kafka, as well as Kellen Moore, will be the kind of list of finalists, if you will, in terms of who will be considered. And of course, I made the quip earlier about kind of, pushing the conversation around the coaching search towards the back end. And really, I mean, the longer that this goes on, the more that it points to Kellen Moore as kind of the favorite, the standout here thus far, because he's kind of the one that they've had to wait on as he was coaching in the NFC Championship game, and they wouldn't be able to make any kind of hiring of him official until after the Super Bowl. So the longer that this pushes on without one of the other guys that could be hired yesterday, the longer this pushes on, the more that it points to Kellen Moore as the favorite of those 4 finalists.
You also had a write-up over at LouisianaSports.net about Derek Foster, the Saints running back coach, interviewing for the same job with the Cowboys. I look at all these guys interviewing, Ross, as the organization saying, yes, leave because you're not keeping your job because someone new is coming in, which means they're not retaining Darren Rizzi. Am I reading too much into all this?
Yeah, I think that's a fair assumption at the very least to make when it comes to this. I mean, you look at Clint Kubiak in Seattle, Andrew Dinoco, the quarterback's coach, interviewing in Seattle for the same position. Those are 2 lateral moves there. Derek Foster, as you just mentioned, interviewing for the same position, running backs coach over with Dallas. You're seeing it on the offensive coaching staff that these guys are taking opportunities elsewhere, and the Saints are granting them those opportunities. Those are all lateral moves. I think the Saints could block them if they wanted to, and they're not. And so I think you're right. I think if you look at sort of the exodus of offensive coaches in particular, it seems to say that whomever they're hiring has a very clear understanding of what it is that they want to do on the offensive coaching staff, which may point to it being an offensive guy, which again gives you further kind of indication that Kellen Moore might be the favorite here.
Is there any belief that we would hear something public? I mean, the Saints can't, if it is Moore, they can't officially hire him until after this. But how would that, because Ross, this isn't the first time ever that a coach has coached in the Super Bowl and gotten a job somewhere. So, like, would that just leak? I mean, how would that happen as far as a timeline or how it would go?
Yeah, you don't have to look too far, actually. You look back to just last year, the Saints, when they were closing in on Clint Kubiak as their offensive coordinator. It was a similar situation, right? He was the offensive coordinator he was the passing end coordinator, my apologies, for the San Francisco 49ers, who were playing in the Super Bowl just last year. And what happened was, it was actually the Friday of the Senior Bowl, February 2nd, that the report started to come out that the Saints were expected to hire Clint Kubiak and that they would make that hire official after the Super Bowl. So that same thing could happen at any point here moving forward if Kellen Moore is indeed the hire. That it doesn't necessarily mean that we won't know that until after the Super Bowl, but it just can't become official until after the Super Bowl. So the language would be that the Saints are expected to hire, Kellen Moore, if that were the case, and then they would make it official after the Super Bowl. So definitely can see some news without actually having to wait until after the big game is wrapped up.
All right, Ross Jackson, LouisianaSports.net. Of course, Locked On Saints podcast. You want Saints content, that's where you get it. We appreciate it, man. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you, man. You take care. Stay safe. Talk to you soon.
All right, but that is Ross Jackson. This is After Further Review. We're brought to you by our friends over at Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Sorry, I had to find it on my sheet. Michelli.com, Michelli.com. If you weigh or measure something at Michelli, they sell, service, rent the products that you use to weigh and measure. And hiring, remember, more than 30 different offices across 13 different states. And I'm talking from Florida and all along the Gulf Coast, Louisiana, Texas, all the way to California, Oregon, Utah, points in between. If you're interested in a career change, of course, they have the DoD Skill Bridge program as well for our veterans who are either active duty or who are already transitioning to civilian life. Go to the website, hit the careers tab at the top right of the page, and you could apply for all the jobs, see all the jobs that they have listed if you're looking for that next phase of your career. It's at Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com, Michelli.com. Okay, y'all, it's After Further Review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. Appreciate Ross. If you missed last hour, Joe Doyle was here. Great stuff with Joe from a baseball scouting perspective, looking at this LSU baseball roster heading into 2025. Talked about a lot. He raved about Shea Shores. You can catch that, anything on demand. Todd McClure was here last hour as well. Talked about the LSU offensive lineman at the Senior Bowl. So it's been a really good show. We appreciate you for being here with us. If you missed anything, get it on demand on podcast or YouTube. Just search AFR LSU or AFR Saints. Or if you want the full show, just search After Further Review, wherever you get podcasts or on YouTube. All right, well, now I got a quick break and continue. It's AFR.
AFR.
If you're a business owner, you owe it to your business to check out Glow Resources, because at Glow Resources, they are complete employer solutions. Maybe you're not the business owner. Maybe you're the HR manager. Maybe you're the operations manager. Maybe you're the hiring manager. Whatever it may be. If you're the person in a business who's responsible for finding the right people in that business to make that business go and grow, you need Glow. G-L-O, glowresources.com, glowresources.com. Listen, I would highly recommend, especially if you're looking for office jobs, office managers. They have the professional placement division at Glow. So you can call, you can reach out, you can ask for Casey. They specialize in office administration, executive level assistants, assistant controllers, plant managers, scheduling assistants, basically any type of office job. It's Glow Resources. Check them out online at glowresources.com. Complete employer solutions.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. I was telling the young guys in the locker room last week, I was like, it seems like kind of standard here at Kansas City, but, you have to realize how hard it is to win in this league and to, sustain this level of winning. It's dang near impossible. So, don't take anything for granted. It's been crazy, being in the league for 4 years, going into my 3rd Super Bowl, been in 4 AFC championships. That's definitely, like you said, not normal. So, I'm really blessed to be in this position.
Chief Center Creed Humphrey, except Creed, that is normal. You just proved it's normal when you're in Kansas City. Of course, Super Bowl 59 a week from Sunday in New Orleans. We will be at Radio Row all next week. Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob, Hunt Palmer Show, NAFR will all originate from Radio Row for Super Bowl week, all next week, Monday to Friday. So we're really excited about it. It's the first time we've ever done Radio Row at the Super Bowl. We've done a lot on this radio station over the last 15 years, and we've never been to a Super Bowl before. So during that time, there's only been one Super Bowl in New Orleans. That was 2012, and not very candidly, as we turn back the clock, 13 years, or a dozen years, I guess. We tried to get onto Radio Row, and we applied too late. We just kind of missed the window, just unknowingly. And anyway, time is now. So we're excited about it, and already got a lot of good stuff lined up. It's interesting the way that works is, there's so many athletes and celebs and different things that make their way to Radio Row, and they have, schedulers that book a lot of that stuff for them in advance. So we're already lining up a ton. I mean, I can tell you some of the stuff we've already got lined up, like Brian Urlacher, Ron Jaworski, Dustin Poirier, Rod Woodson. I mean, some amazing, Hall of Fame, Super Bowl winner type people are already booked for some of our shows throughout the course of the week, and of course, media personalities. So we're looking forward to it, man. We're looking forward to a great week at the Super Bowl next week down at Radio Row. So we're looking forward to bringing you that, and our coverage all next week from Radio Row will be presented by L'Auberge Baton Rouge Casino Hotel. So we appreciate L'Auberge so much for stepping up and sponsoring our Super Bowl coverage, and we're looking forward to being there all next week. So if there's stuff that you're interested in, let us know. But it will be the Chiefs and the Eagles, and it's so interesting, too, because this is the second time in 3 years we'll see this matchup. The Chiefs, for the first time ever, have made 3 consecutive Super Bowls. We've seen teams win back-to-back Super Bowls, but as you know now, we've never seen a team make a 3rd consecutive Super Bowl. Chiefs will make history when they have the chance to do that. Of course, it's Andy Reid against his former team, which is a narrative that was maybe bigger 2 years ago, is a little muted, but it's still a thing. And some Joe Banner, who's the former Eagles president, was on the Rich Eisen show, and he was asked about that Andy Reid hire back in 1999.
we weren't worried when we hired Andy, even though it was not popular and highly criticized. In fact, in Philadelphia, we were accused of hiring him just because we would pay him less since he'd never been a coordinator. The truth is we made the highest paid first-time head coach in the history of the game, but that was the criticism at the time. But we had 4 or 5 things. We're going to find this in somebody. We found it in Andy, and we proceeded without a whole lot of anxiety.
I mean, he played in 19 postseason games in Philadelphia. Like, we think about Andy Reid and what he's been able to do now with the Chiefs, having already won 3 Super Bowls. But, I mean, in his years in Philly, he was 130, 93-1, so he won 58% of his games. I mean, he was 10-9 in the postseason. He played 19 postseason games. They did make it to a Super Bowl, as we know. Lost to the New England Patriots back in 2004. But it was like the Eagles were the team with Reed and Donovan McNabb that it was like always the bridesmaid, never the bride. They got there so many times and just couldn't get over the hump. Feels a lot like what Buffalo is right now. Just unfortunate to be in an era in the AFC where you're looking at Mahomes, like a lot of were whenever it was Brady. But in any event, it will be again Andy Reid against his former team in the Super Bowl coming up a week from Sunday. We're looking forward to being down there all week. Ross Jackson will be actually at the Super Bowl covering it for LouisianaSports.net, so we're thrilled about that to bring you a lot of Super Bowl coverage next week. All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here, brought to you by Parrish Construction and Roofing. ParrishBuilt.com, ParrishBuilt.com. Do business with someone you know. Parrish Construction and Roofing, that's me, that's Terrio, Richard Tilley, Joe Morales, Trent Davis, our great team. We had a great meeting this morning over at Parrish, and couple things. One, inspections. We had rain earlier today. We had the snow and the ice last week. We are seeing so many people reporting damage to their roofs. They're finding water intrusion, damage from the ice and the snow. Listen, it costs you nothing to get an inspection. Like, let me ask you a question. When was the last time someone got on your roof and walked it to see if you have damage? Because I'm telling you, eventually, like, this is a reality with every single roof on every single building on the history of ever. Every roof has a lifespan. And when you live in Louisiana and there's rain and there's hail and there's wind and now there's snow and there's ice, you're going to have roof damage. And eventually, you're going to have leaks, and you're only going to find out about it whenever you start having water spots on your ceiling and who knows what else is going on in your attic, electrical, mold, all that stuff. It's a bad situation. The way to prevent that, get regular roof inspections. And they're free. Not just with us, anybody. If anybody charges you for a roof inspection, run the other way. And you don't have to be home. It's just permission to get on the roof, have an inspector walk it, mark it, chalk it, and give you a full report with photos and everything. And plus, you get that inspection, then if you do have damage somewhere down the line, then whenever you're filing an insurance claim, you have a record of what your roof looked like on this date and what it looks like now to prove that's what that storm, that event, is what damaged your roof. Anyway, all that to say, it's free. Go to the website, parrishbuilt.com, parrishbuilt.com. Fill out the form on the homepage right next to the video of Coach Mulkey. Fill out the form. It'll take you 30 seconds. We'll be in touch. We'll schedule the inspection. Do business with someone you know. Parrish Construction and Roofing. Go to parrishbuilt.com, parrishbuilt.com. One of we got Otter coming up here in about 15 minutes. By the way, Jimmy's picks are live at LouisianaSports.net. They're free if you want. They're right there on the homepage. If right under the latest stories, if you want to see them. So you can go get you can get Otter locks in 15 minutes. But if you want to get them, make those plays right now, you can. LouisianaSports.net. They're free right there on the left side of the homepage. Or if you're on mobile, just scroll down. It'll be under the latest section. One of the things that we are going to keep an eye on. I want to talk free agency. Actually, let me do this real quick while we're talking about the Super Bowl. I wanted to get a thought on this because you've probably heard this story now. So Bill Belichick was doing an interview with Jim Gray on the Let's Go podcast, and Jim Gray brings up how the Super Bowl trophy is the Lombardi trophy, how it's named after Vince Lombardi, and they have this back and forth, and ultimately Bill Belichick is talking about the importance of players, not coaches, and makes a suggestion.
Players win games. You can't win games without good players. I don't care who the coach is. It's impossible. You can't win without good players. You know, I found out when I had Taylor and Banks and Harry Carson, Pepper Johnson, Jim Burt, Everson Walls, all those guys of the Giants, and Same thing, when we got good at Cleveland and then at New England. I mean, it's Brady, it's McGinnis, it's Vrabel, it's Bruschi, it's Corey Dillon, it's Randy Moss. Those are the guys that won the games. Man, I didn't make any tackles. I didn't make any kicks. That was Vinatieri that made that kick in 4 inches of snow. You got to have good players. And as a coach, you want to give your players a chance to win.
They don't name it the Star Trophy. It's named the Lombardi Trophy.
Maybe they should name it the Brady Trophy. He won 7 of them.
So that clip has gotten an awful lot of attention. And I wanted to play it for you because some of that chatter is disingenuous, because when you hear it, you realize Bill Belichick wasn't like stumping to rename the Lombardi Trophy. That's not what happened. But you go read the headline, you go read the tweet. I mean, that's the way that it has come across by a lot of people in media. Like, I'm actually going right now to ESPN.com to look up this story because I know they did it. Belichick. Here's the headline. Here's the headline at ESPN.com. Belichick, rename Lombardi Trophy after Brady. Like, you heard that cut? Is that what Bill Belichick was saying? You just heard it. It's a 42-second cut. You heard the whole thing. Was Bill Belichick pounding the table saying rename the Lombardi Trophy after Tom Brady? Come on. They're having a conversation. Jim Gray's trying to basically prop up Bill Belichick to say, look at your role. And Belichick's like, it wasn't me. It's the players. It's my job to put the players, get them in a position to win. But you need Brady and McGinnis and Bruschi and Randy Moss and all the guys that he mentioned. And then Jim Gray said, they call it the Lombardi Trophy. They don't call it the Bart Starr Trophy. So maybe they name it the Brady Trophy. You heard it. Like, it was a tongue-in-cheek throwaway comment. And the only reason I wanted to play it and talk about it, and I wanted you to hear that, was because you probably already had it mentioned, or someone will talk about it. And if they should, and they're going to say, you're Bill Belichick. They said they should rename the trophy. He's trying to get in good with Brady. No. It's not at all what he said. It was a throwaway comment, tongue-in-cheek. And they're not going to rename the Lombardi Trophy. Like, the only time they're ever going to do something like that, sometimes they may hyphenate a stadium name, or like if there isn't a name, like the NBA Finals Trophy didn't have a name. It was just the NBA MVP, NBA Finals MVP. They named it after Bill Russell, which is very appropriate and great. That's not what Bill Belichick was suggesting. And to suggest otherwise is disingenuous. And it's one of the things about media that actually makes me sick. Makes me very sad. Not sick, makes me sad. Like, everyone should have higher standards than that. In this business, you especially, like, if you're a clickbait aggregating website where that's all you do is you're trying to drive clicks, I get it. That's what you do, and that's why I just try to steer clear of you completely. But, like, to see that at ESPN.com, it was on the homepage at ESPN.com with the headline, Belichick, rename Lombardi Trophy after Brady. Very disappointing. All right. Jimmy's here in 15 minutes. We'll knock out a quick break. Stay here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Gents, if you want to get back to feeling like your younger self, Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness can help. Listen, I know for a lot of people, when you start talking about hormone therapy or low T or ED medication or ED treatments, there's like a stigma, and sometimes guys feel embarrassed. I am here to tell you there's nothing to be embarrassed about. I've told you, like, I have been on testosterone therapy for 8 years now. I didn't do anything wrong. Went in to do a blood test. My testosterone levels were in the 200s. Had a massively stressful life event with my son. It basically zapped me. I always give the example of presidents. When they go into office, when they come out of office, look at how much they ate. Yeah, stress age. It has a physical manifestation. Sometimes you don't know how bad you feel till you start feeling good again. A simple blood test can let you know if you're a candidate for hormone replacement therapy. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. YourGoodwood.com.
chores that need some extra muscle, but a large piece of equipment is overkill? That's what John Deere compact utility tractors were made for. Powerful enough for the work you need to do. Compact enough for how you need to do it. Find the equipment that's right for you at Sunshine Quality Solutions. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalvr.com.
Little breaking news as Brian Kelly continues to add to his support staff. Of course, a couple days ago, talked about Lance Guidry coming on as an analyst yesterday. Alex Atkins being hired as the tight ends coach and run game coordinator. Matt Zenitz over at 24/7 Sports is reporting LSU set to hire Baylor's Kiva Soil Cormier, as he puts it, in an NIL-related role within the athletic department, and notes that she did previously work at LSU as an assistant director of recruiting operations for the football team, including the 2019 national championship team. Well, there's a lot of different things that are interesting. We did talk earlier in the week about Jazz Smith. Wilson Alexander had the report, which was confirmed by representatives at LSU, that Jazz Smith, no longer the director of operations, no longer at LSU. And here now you've added Soil Cormier back in a operations NIL-related role. Matt Zenitz also noted that at Baylor, Soil Cormier worked for the Bears football team as an associate AD for NIL administration and pro relations, and previously was Baylor's associate AD for player personnel. Of course, Dave Aranda was part of the 2019 staff, as we all know, and then left to become the head coach at Baylor, and clearly identified Kiva Soil Cormier as someone part of that LSU staff, supports that he wanted to bring, and now Brian Kelly is bringing her back to LSU. So it's just so interesting how many staff members, coaches, support staff who were here have left and come back. And some of that was instances before Brian Kelly, like this instance here of Kiva Soil Cormier. But then there's Corey Raymond, who was not retained and brought back. Blake Baker, who I understood Blake Baker at the time. not being retained and brought back. Austin Thomas has found his way around college football and keeps finding his way back to LSU, and is such an impactful part of what LSU is building. So I will be most interested to learn what exactly Kivas Oil-Cormier's role is going to be at LSU. The way Matt Zenitz reports it is it's an NIL-related role within the athletic department. So I don't know what that is, but the timing of it is fascinating because you're talking about a time where NIL is about to evolve with revenue share, and it's fair to ask what that's going to look like. Whereas, will the athletic department assume the collective? Will the collective continue to operate at all? I don't know. These are all things that have to be worked out. What role will NIL play as a complement to revenue share, hand in hand with revenue share, subservient, still higher than revenue share in importance? It's just a fascinating time to see how this is all going to work out. So we'll see if we can do some digging to figure out what exactly Kivas Oil-Cormier's role is going to be in her return to LSU. But it's another instance of someone who had been here, left, and has found their way back. And when you find the special sauce of what it takes to win a championship at LSU, it's pretty clear Brian Kelly's looking for a lot of those ingredients to bring him back here. So we talked about it yesterday with the hiring of Alex Atkins. Every single member of Brian Kelly's staff now, every single member of Brian Kelly's staff, all of them have ties to Louisiana. And this is another example. So we'll dig a little bit, find out a little more, hopefully have a more complete, comprehensive report. I mean, this report is 14 minutes old. So see what I can find out over the next day or so, what her role will be, part of the NIL staff, and we'll have much more to say. All right, we're glad you're with us. We're brought to you by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com, lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. We are, 2 weeks from tomorrow. 2 weeks from tomorrow, y'all. 2 weeks from tomorrow is Valentine's Day. Gents, don't screw it up. Go to Lee Michaels, because if you go to Lee Michaels, it's impossible to screw it up. They've got gifts on the website. You can shop right there. Featured gifts for Valentine's Day. If you're buying on a budget, if you want to spend less than $1,000, they have gifts, a section, less than $1,000 that you can go shop there. You want to buy a beautiful diamond earrings, necklace, ring, pendant. They've got tons of options, timepieces. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry with 9 locations in all. 2 locations in Baton Rouge, Corporate Boulevard, the Mall of Louisiana, New Orleans, Lafayette, Shreveport, and online at lmfj.com. lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Hey, speaking of, I don't mean to completely bag on ESPN, because we are an ESPN affiliate, so we do have a partnership with ESPN. But I saw this earlier today, and I cackled. So ESPN has picked up the option. They've exercised the option for ACC sports through 2036. So just very quickly, I'll tell you why this is important. Then I'll tell you why I cackled. This is important because so ESPN carries the ACC the same way they do the SEC. In 2016, they signed a 20-year contract. And at the time it was done for the ACC to try to make sure at a pretty volatile time, all the teams in the ACC signed this long-term deal as a sign of unity so as to make sure this league wasn't poached. The irony is the thing that they did in signing this long-term contract, they did thinking they were saving the league, is the exact thing that is crippling the league, because the revenue is so low, they're getting so outpaced by the SEC and Big Ten as everything elevates and they're stagnant. Anyway, but the 20-year contract, ESPN has picked up the option to take it through 2036. Otherwise, it would have ended after the 2027 season. And of course, ESPN did, because ESPN has this low rate. Why would they pass on the option and voluntarily pay more? They wouldn't. So anyway, I cackled because I'm reading this report at ESPN.com. And the lead, LEDE, the first line, the lead is ESPN has agreed to pick up its option to continue broadcasting ACC sports through 2036. Oh, the network in the conference announced Thursday. Muse, they changed it. Oh, dang it. You know what? Good thing, Muse.
Yeah.
I got the hard copy.
There we go.
Okay. This is why. So Muse and I were laughing about this earlier. This is why I cackled. Now that they've I wonder if they got enough crap on the internet.
Had to have.
And so they went and changed it.
It was.
Okay.
Go.
The headline was sources. ESPN.com.
Yeah, right.
Sources. ESPN OK's option to televise ACC sports through 2036. Who do you think ESPN's sources were? Let me read the first line.
Yeah.
ESPN has agreed to pick up its option to continue broadcasting ACC sports through 2036. Sources told ESPN on Thursday.
Right.
ESPN declined to comment on picking up the option. I'm reading that. I printed this.
I know.
I'm glad I printed this at 8:30 this morning.
Did they change that part too?
Yes.
They changed that thing.
Well, now there's a comment.
Look,
there's quotes. We're pleased to extend our deal and blah, 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 bloop. There's a quote now.
They walked down the hall and got around to commenting.
Hey, Bill. Hey, Bill. Bill, we're getting crushed on this ESPN ACC. Can you just give me a quote? Hold on, let me write something up.
Oh, Lord.
Not done. Sources said ESPN agreed to pick up the option after the ACC agreed to the new, quote, value ads. 1, 2, 3 different references to sources on a story at ESPN.com about ESPN picking up the option on the ACC television contract. Sources.
I just don't understand.
Steve in HR.
Steve in HR.
Jack in accounting.
Yeah. He's got the inside track, that Jack in accounting, man.
Why does this have to be anonymously sourced? You are ESPN. Yeah. You picked up the option.
Yeah.
And they had not one but 2 reporters on the byline. David Hale and Andrea Adelson. They had 2 reporters working on this.
It's a busy day.
To cite anonymous sources that their network. That would be like, bro, that would be like me sitting at this microphone saying, sources suggest that T-Bob and Hester have reached a contract extension to stay on one. Like, that's what that would be akin to. I am the source.
Yeah, right.
What are you talking about? Anyway. Sources. What are we doing?
Sources culture is out of control.
What are we doing?
Like, goodness.
And the crazy thing is, like, I don't think most people read that and bat an eye.
No.
Most people would have thought nothing of it. Because sources are just crammed in our face all the time. It's Avar.
After further review.
We're brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com. Rouse's.com. Sorry, Paulie, I went way out of order. Rouse's. Hey, I was over at Parrish earlier today, and I went around with the phone to make a reel, and I asked like 10 people in the office, what's the best type of king cake? Muse, what do you think is the best type of king cake?
I like strawberry cream cheese.
Oh, you know what?
Yep.
I think it was, it might have been Kayla in our office who said strawberry cream cheese.
Shout out, Kayla.
Paulie, what's your favorite type of? Here, let's see. Here, she was first. She did. She said strawberry cream. Look, Kayla was first. She just said cream cheese.
That one's good too. That's my number 2. That's my second.
You know who said strawberry cream cheese? Was Macy, the marketing director.
Shout out Macy.
She said, but you're all wrong. It's plain cinnamon. But no matter what your favorite flavor is, get it from Rouse's.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Got chores that need some extra muscle, but a large piece of equipment is overkill? That's what John Deere compact utility tractors were made for. Powerful enough for the work you need to do. Compact enough for how you need to do it. Find the equipment that's right for you at Sunshine Quality Solutions. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
Shout out to Rob Neely. Rob Neely gets it. He gets the show. Rob Neely gets the show. We're talking about ESPN declining to comment to the story from ESPN about ESPN picking up the option for the ACC. And I said, well, that would be like me anonymously reporting that we've reached a contract extension with Hester and T-Bob or whatever. Rob Neely, program director Matt Moscona declined to comment. Hit Otter Locks open. It's so good.
Otter Locks.
All right, time to win some money.
Presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
I think it's safe to say that I won the bet.
You get it? I'd be on my show announcing it anonymously and declining to comment on the report that I'm announcing anonymously. You get it?
Yeah, I got it. It was really well done. Really good. Yeah.
Otter, how are you?
Lock of the week. Let's go, baby.
Let's go.
Got Kaluki picks right out. Erica loves that, doesn't she? Huh?
My wife thinks Lock of the Week is the most obnoxious thing ever. Remember one year she gave a pick every week?
Oh, I remember she got on a heater and hoops, man. And it was
No, she never got on a heater and hoops. She don't know what she's talking about. She read whatever I gave her.
All right, Colucci picks 2 tonight. A couple of dogs, 6 o'clock in Montreal. He's got the Minnesota Wild coming back at a decent price. Maybe what's plus 140 or so, something like that, maybe 130. And then he's got the Anaheim Ducks tonight against the Flames. 2 dogs on the ice tonight.
Okay.
Anaheim and Minnesota.
All right.
All right, Penn State, we gave it out on the website. They're down 18-14, so a more favorable line if you want to jump in game. So that's available as well.
All right. Got it. Penn State. I'm trying to see the in-game number right now, but if you want to go ahead, you can.
1 minute remaining. And then tonight at UCLA, Mitch Cronin, in between whining about the travel and the Big Ten the travel schedule, he's got his team playing good ball right now. Laying a 4.5 at home against Oregon. Normally, think that might be a little bit big. Oregon won that that Las Vegas tournament, that pay tournament earlier. Were very impressive. They kind of flattened out a little bit. UCLA at home minus the points, the late one tonight.
All right, UCLA laying 4.5. Otto, real quick, DraftKings is not letting you buy the half a point. You have to buy a full point. Do you think it's still worth it?
No.
Okay.
No. You want to buy it onto the whole point, yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Where Friday, Rufino's.
Friday, baby.
All right, we're going to go. We'll see you. Thanks, Otter. Yes,
good luck.
Wally. Thanks, man. You too. See ya.
After further review.
With all the money you win from Otter Locks, go buy windows from Relief Windows. Or windows, doors, siding, indoor shutters as well. I can't imagine why you'd go anywhere else. So I've told you my experience with Brandon Holly for you. Not only is Brandon and Adrian, they're great friends, but with Relief Windows. We brought Drew home. One of the first things we did, his bedroom faced the street. We wanted to be quiet. We installed one of those soundproofing windows. Moved into our new house. We have a big wall of windows that looks out to our back. It's gorgeous. Brandon recommended putting in picture windows. We have plantation shutters. Well, gorgeous. We got credit on an appraisal for our home for those storm impact resistant picture windows and the lifetime warranty. So our home's resale value went up on appraisal because of the windows. Y'all, they're the best. And at Relief Windows, you get a true lifetime warranty. It's Relief Windows. Check them out online, reliefwindows.com.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Got chores that need some extra muscle, but a large piece of equipment is overkill? That's what John Deere compact utility tractors were made for. Powerful enough for the work you need to do. Compact enough for how you need to do it. Find the equipment that's right for you at Sunshine Quality Solutions. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.